questions. So I'm gonna wait till the Lord let us know that it's that He's ready.
It's in the process of transitioning as we speak. It's doing their little witchcraft doohickey stuff, bro.
Yeah, that Harry Potter hocus pocus. So
Yep, it's on, brother. It's definitely
all right. Okay. I'm a Yetzirah. You feeling good, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, listen. So what happens is a few weeks back, the brother Ibad Karataza asked a question. Of course, I was unfamiliar with the term that he was using, but he asked a question about mansers.
Yeah.
And, to be honest with you, I still don't know the details of it. I guess he's talking about, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically Israelite children that are with mixed parents. And when I say mixed parents, clearly the father have to be an Israelite, so that means the mother may not be an Israelite. Is that what the mansers, or are you still there? Is that what that is?
yeah, that's what it is. It's Israelites that are mixed.
Yeah, man. So
That add a little more answer to the
And also too,
to the
well,
weirdness.
y'all, how many brothers is in there? Somebody get up front, man. Put some seats in these damn chairs.
Put some
No,
fat
excuse me.
on the chairs, man.
bro.
Shalom, Kawakab.
Yeah.
Shalom, brother. I already know the invisible man would be over there. Like I said, out of 100 people, I only accept that for one. And so Troy claimed dibs on that one already. So that means nobody else get to do that.
It's part of it's
Huh?
That's coming out right now, man.
yeah. Part of it is if your parents weren't married, then on paper,
Okay.
your parents didn't have a marriage document, then you're a bastard.
Bunch of stupid. Okay, let me stop.
Yeah.
We just, oh boy, you always hear my first reaction, right? But listen, let's go first of all. Okay, thank you. Give me that detail. That one, mixed babies. Okay. So let's deal with the documentation first. All right. And we'll go, when I say documentation, what are they talking about? In other words, when you read the scriptures, there's scriptures qualified. I'm gonna give a few examples. First, we're gonna read the scripture. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy chapter 22. And actually, we might end up reading the whole chapter. I was gonna go right to the point, but I wanna kind of get into the whole marriage and how it was done process. Like there's a topic, the immaculate conception topic, that throws people off. There's a verse, I guess it is in Matthew chapter 1, where it says Mary was found with child of the Holy Ghost. I'm speaking like it's written in the book, in the Bible. Mary was found with child of the Holy Spirit before they were come together, referring to Joseph. And so people see there wasn't married. But the scriptures say Mary was espoused to a man of the house of David whose name was Joseph. That's what it says. When you go look up what espoused means, it means married. So this is what throws people off when it says before they were come together. And what the reason why it throws people off was because there was a general platform, there was a general operation that a man and a woman was taken through that brought them together. And that process was done through the parents of the father, the parents of the man. When I say the parents, the father, particularly of the man, and the father and brothers of the woman. And we're gonna read that. This is how our mothers were acquired by our forefathers. And so when it says before they were come together, it's saying Joseph hadn't gone through that process. That's what Joseph didn't go through the process where which he would be recognized by Mary's father, Heli. So we're gonna start off I want to get there, chapter 22, just to determine if I want to start off at verse 1 or what I want to do is I want to read enough so that we can see what paradigm what dynamic is underway? Are we going to courthouses? Are we filling out birth certificates? Are we taking blood tests? All the flaming hoops that they make people jump through just when they can just be together. So, chapter, I'm getting there on the Yetzirah. Okay. All right, let's start off. We're going to start off. These verses may seem non-related, but I'm reading them for a reason. Because from verse 13 in Deuteronomy chapter 22 is where all things marriage. In other words, in chapter 21, verses 1 through 12, there are diverse laws and they deal with diverse issues. All right. But once we get to verse 13, the issue becomes marriage. So I want to read this whole chapter to see what we could find on marriage concerning documentation. And when I say documentation, I'm referring to documentation in the form that whoever the Manzers, whoever came up with that doctrine. So let's go ahead and read that out. Start at verse 13, Yetzirah.
Oh, verse 13. Oh, he said verse 1.
I said verse 1 at first, but I skimmed through it, and the marriage doesn't start. The issues of marriage does not start until verse 13, because I wanted to start early enough. The verses that are directly related to what I want to bring out is the last 2 or 3 verses of the chapter. But what I want to do is get some perspective concerning marriage in general, to see how this thing was done. And when we read through this, the absence of all the things that we know today as marriage should let you know things weren't done back then like they are today. So that's where we're going to start at verse 13. Okay, Yetzirah?
Cool.
Go
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
So stop. So right off the bat, it ain't said nothing about paperwork. It said this man, the issue is always going to be when you get together and you consummate. The issues of marriage always surround, you're going to find out, consummation. I'm going to prove it. Adultery. You done consummated, or if you've been spoken for, if some other man comes and consummates or has sexual relations, you've committed adultery. The issue that the Most High have nothing to do with paperwork. So here in this issue, a man is taking a wife, he went to consummate, and now he's not satisfied because he said, I came unto her and I found her not a maid, meaning she was already tampered with. And that's what he's telling you. She's already, this woman, I'm not her first, is what he's saying. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
Stop right there. Now this goes to show you how intimately involved in the process the parents were. No state, it says the father, check that out, of the damsel and her mother, because the father's responsible for seeing to it. And the scriptures tell you that in Ecclesiastes. Says the father lose sleep, taking care over his daughter. Let's do this real quick. Now we see that, right? Read verse 15 again, and I'm gonna show y'all something else.
Verse 15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
Now, why would the father do that? Let's go to Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 42. Because it was it wasn't even his woman's responsibility. It was his responsibility because she's his seed. Go ahead, brother. You're going to read verse 9 and 10 to begin with.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 42 and verse 9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth.
Stop. What is that saying? That's saying he lose sleep. He be the night, it's in the still of the night, and he's woken up worried about his daughter. That's what it means when he says the father waketh for the daughter, because he sleep, but just just making sure that he directs her and that she makes it through the youth of her life into under the roof of a responsible man. Now he's going to tell you that is his concern in the face of what? In the face of what possibilities? Continue, reading from the top again, verse 9.
Verse 9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age.
Stop. These are the things that be on his mind. He be worried about her when she is young. When it says, lest she pass the flower of her age, women ain't supposed to be getting married at no 40 years old. When he said the flower of her age, he's talking about that she's a young woman. When she become of marital age, that she don't pass the flower of her age. And the women know that. They be talking about Esau, especially talking about, they be did the career thing, and now they meet some man. They brushed off all the men. They was all into feminism and career. And then all of a sudden now they finally got what they want to in the career, but now they want to meet a man and they want him to marry their ass in a week. Because and what they be screaming about, come on now, my biological clock. I want to know if you can commit. Because they know their time be running out. And they always start screaming about my biological. This is Esau. This is how that women roll. And now our women have adopted that.
Yep.
Running around here making movies about how Stella got her groove. Stella never had to lose her groove. Stella still looks young. But that mentality. So that's what the father be worried. He'd be worried about that by the time she get to an age. Why? Because men understand after a certain age, you can't mold a woman into what you need them to be. And they were put here, and when you marry one, the scriptures tell you they're another you. He that getteth the wife beginneth the possession like unto himself. That means she's another him. She's not a mini me, she's a maxi me. She's a bigger version, she's not a kid, she's a version of me. She literally becomes what she's my clone. That's what he's telling you. So here the father's worried about that she don't get to the age where now either she can't be molded and received by a man and molded into what he needs her to be, or she's just too old. So he's worried about her passing the flower of her age. Go ahead. He's going to name some other concerns that take his feet. Continue.
And being married, lest she should be hated.
See? In other words, he want her to be married. They be putting all niggas be like Scarface now, getting all jealous over their sisters. Be that Puerto Rican sister love. But this is what he knows, she was put here to be married. And then back in the day when a woman didn't get married or when she was married and she couldn't bear children, the scriptures tell you they were reproached. And reproach is talking about cruelly spoken against or cruelly spoken of. That's why when you read Tobit, what was her name? I don't know if her name was Sarah, but it was the one who would end up becoming Tobias's wife. And she had 7 husbands, and the husbands were killed by a demon that was jealous over her before she could consummate. And the maids, her father's servants would be like, why don't you go and kill yourself? You ain't even see shit. You done had 7 husbands, and you ain't called after none of them. Because the woman's supposed to take on the husband's name. All this feminist hyphenated name BS. Smith, Johnson, Burroughs. All of that is feminist movement. Then go on and belong to the community chest. Then stay there. Remain in the public domain. But this is what Esau do to you enter into a relationship psychologically already divided. That means I want to retain who or what I am, whose I am before you. And whose name you got on you is your dad. That's the reality of it. So these are the things that he said, I want her to make sure she's married, lest what? Lest she be hated. That means that nobody want her. Go ahead.
Verse 10. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house.
Listen, he worries about her in her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in their father's house. That's a disgrace for a woman to get pregnant under their father's roof. These are the things that are. Why do we go here? So when this man goes to the father of the woman that he was given, he goes, listen, your daughter wasn't no virgin. And then the father says, hold on. Listen, what is the mother and the father doing with the sheets? Like little baby booties, the bronze baby booties or something. You know, you keep little tokens. Because that's proof that that's how it was done. Had nothing to do with no state. The priest wasn't even involved. I'm talking about the priest of Israel. They weren't there for that. They were there to make intercession between us and the Most High. I say us meaning the body, the nation of Israel, and the Most High. That's what they were there for. They weren't there to deal with the affairs of how a man and woman got. And I now pronounce you, you know, you may take the woman with ring, all that BS. Go ahead, I'm gonna get this out from the top of 10 again.
In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house. And having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself.
Because listen, it shows when it says he want her to have a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, because the women that don't be having husbands, y'all know what they do. It be a bunch of group of girls and they roll out to clubs and they get sexed down with being clean. We on YouTube. But that's what the men do. That's what this generation do. That's what this generation, it goes way back. It ain't just, this ain't new. Mama done bought the little, daddy done bought the girl. It shows you fathers don't even know how to raise daughters anymore. The first thing they do when they turn 16, if they're parents of means, no matter who they are, whether they're Esau or us, they go out and they get their kid a car most of the time, sometime before they get out of high school. And the girl is out every week playing community chess at the clubs, literally playing doorknob to the neighborhood at the clubs. So that's what he says. He's want her to be married, lest what? Lest she should misbehave. Go ahead, herself. Continue.
And when she is married, lest she should be barren.
I mean, he want her to be married and bear children, lest she not be married and don't bear children. He ain't trying to have her pregnant up in his house. So why is all of this written? So it shows you what? It shows you the perspective. Who was in control of this marriage? So it had nothing to do with papers from no state. I was these people like, they don't even be knowing the Bible. You know why they don't know the Bible? Because they never came in the truth and served anybody. And when I say served anybody, I'm talking about their teacher. All of our job, when I came in the truth, my job was to help my teacher do his job. That's how I learned how to do it. I was his servant. I was his student, and I was having that skill, that trade, that occupation, that vocation passed down to me. Just like a mechanic, just like a carpenter, like Christ. You understand all of these different skills, just like a smith, a worker with metal, handing it down, person that made weapons, handing it down to their sons. So here we are finding out, oh, okay, the dad is responsible for the marriage. So when you read this, and we're going to go back to Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, I want to go one more. Read verse, that was 10, right? You're going to read verse 10, and then one more to verse 11.
Verse 11.
Verse 10 first. I want to reiterate 10 first and go smoothly into 11.
In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself. And when she is married, lest she should be barren.
Go ahead.
Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter,
So
lest she make...
hold on. A shameless daughter, meaning a daughter that have shown tendencies of promiscuity, advancing toward men, because the women were shamefaced. They didn't just do all the stuff that the women do today. Go penis hunting. That's what it be. Where they offer themselves up as the bait. That's the reality. So he's telling us now. So if you have a shameless daughter, a daughter that have shameless, without shame, how she dresses, how she presents herself, her submissiveness or aggressiveness in the face, her familiarity with contact, with physical contact. That's why I don't be letting my daughters hug. No, they don't get to hug their uncles. They don't hug me a lot. The scriptures tell you also, you're supposed to take care of your daughter's body and be not too friendly with her. You're supposed to be all over affection with your daughter. You're not supposed to over or prematurely familiarize her with with male contact like that. There's a way that you have to be. Literally. There's an art to raising men. There's an art to raising women. And the art is in the Bible. And then we can go to Ecclesiastes 33, tell you about the men. How you got to break our asses because we like wild horses from childhood, and we are. Because that's the spirit of manliness. That's why the Bible refers to him as a man-child. So I'm yet to read verse 11.
Verse 11. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies.
Yeah, the whole neighborhood. Now look at that. They laughing at you. That means it's a shame to you. So now, finish the verse.
And a byword in the city.
Meaning everybody will be gossiping about you because of your daughter. Because of her shameless, and the scriptures go into it. There's other scriptures that tell you what she'll do. Tells you that she'll be like a hungry, a thirsty traveler on the road that drinketh at every fountain that she passes by, and that lay down and open her quiver against every arrow. How poetic is that for saying she'd be out there giving oral sex and taking penis like it's the penis Olympics? She'd be out there taking penis like the Greeks. Go ahead. Is that the end of that verse?
No.
Continue.
And a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude.
So now, what we're reading in Deuteronomy chapter 22, the question is that what this girl did? Did she end up what? Now, although she was not gotten with child, has she been tampered with in her father's house? So let's go back. Go back to Deuteronomy, and pick that up at verse 15 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
Can we all say that together? Ew! I don't want to be saying, ew! Yeah, you got to bring them sticky, dirty sheets. Because that's the proof or the lack thereof. Because this man is bringing an accusation that could result in the death of his daughter. And he has to, what? Determine whether or not, and this is how far the lengths that he goes to make sure that what? That if the man do, he kept him. Think about that. That shows you that's how Israel thought. Now I'm still waiting for the paperwork. Then they shall go down to the courtroom. They shall go down to the county building and apply for a wedding. What do you call that? A marriage certificate. And then you got to go. They shall go down to the clinic, Planned Parenthood, and get a blood test to see if they're compatible. Is it a man? Is it a woman? From birth, both of them? Well, they should be compatible. What the hell wrong with y'all? This is the society we live in. Continue on verse 16. What takes place now?
Verse 16. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he have given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city.
Check that out, man. Check that out. Brother, these days, that sheep will be bone dry. That sheep will be cleaner afterward than before. Because that's the time that we live in. Go ahead. Verse 18.
And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him.
Now hold on. When it says chastise him, we can go down different roads and show what were some of the chastisement, but mostly the chastisement in this case would be an ass whooping. He would get beat. Because he's not bringing a false accusation. He's bringing it, in other words, it's not intentionally false. He just turns out sexually was not satisfied. That's what it all comes down to. And because of his sexual dissatisfaction. Now he's the spirit of jealousy's on him. He don't trust her. He thinks this woman has been with someone before him. It might be an equipment issue. It might be, he's lacking in the tool department. You never know, or maybe she's overly abundant in the tool department. Either way, this is what would happen if it turns out that those tokens of that virginity can convince the judges that this woman, yes, was a virgin. He's gonna get his ass beat because what he said could result in that woman's death, and he's gonna get fined. Let's read on down on the Yetazah. Read verse 18 again.
And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him, and they shall amaze him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he have brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days.
So check that out. So turns out that'd be some cold stuff. Get your ass up and have to pay 100 shekels of silver to the father for ruining his daughter's reputation, therefore ruining her father's reputation, bringing an evil name upon that household. Now, verse 20 is going to say what happens if the pendulum swings the other way. Go ahead.
But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she have wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house.
What we just got through reading in Ecclesiastes 42. This is what the father be worried about. He want no daughter playing the whore up in his house. Go ahead.
So shall thou put evil away from among you.
He's saying this is the manner how you will put evil away from among you in these circumstances. So that shows you where the whole marriage process was. It was between the man, or we'll say the bridegroom to be, and her father. And then in our parents' history, you'll see that the father and the brothers were involved. The father and the brother of the damsel were involved. And this is why men, we used to have this inclination of being very protective over Italy, over our sisters. That's how we were when I was growing up. So now looking at that, if it turns out that it could be true, and being true results in a brutal slaying, stoning ain't no joke. I mean, I saw a movie that was put together really good about stoning because it was based on a true story. And man, I said, what was it with the director that he really wanted to show how resilient the human body is? Unless you walk up to it and know what you're doing, the human body is a work of art that takes some time to extinguish. And that's why, as time went on, Esau and other nations began to what? Modify and modernize weaponry to become what? To make it easier to kill a human being. So here you got a process that's designed to remove evil from among the nation, while at the same time instill fear in those participating and watching, meaning those throwing the stones, because it's designed to be brutal. Stoning is beautiful. You ever seen a rock, bang. Sometimes it depends on how it is. Sometimes they cut the flesh, other times they smack it and cause a swell. That's a horrible thing. So when all them stones hitting the body being pelted with a bunch of stones. So now, so when it says the father taketh care, that shows you if he saw himself, if he found him, and this is proof that old myth about how you're not supposed to, quote, hit women. You're not supposed to hit a girl. Let's start off with that, because we all heard that in childhood. You're not supposed to hit a girl. Then they begin to put it in movies, and you begin to hear people on the street talking about, and my daddy don't even hit me. And now the cops are shooting you down, and you're turning up missing. And they're talking about the 60,000 black women missing, and then because that's what women's lib got you. It removed you from your protection. So what would a father, knowing that the end could result in his daughter's death, what are the measures from childhood up until the time when she's given to her husband? What are the measures that he's he's free and in the eyes of the Most High to take. If you can physically or corporal punishment, if a boy is subject to corporal punishment being butt whoopings, so is a girl. Moving on up into adulthood, if a man, and the scriptures tell you, if the judges came to a decision where they had to beat a man, then it was against the law to give him anything more than 40 lashes. The same goes for the women. That's why the scripture said there shall be one law. It said for us and the strangers and the foreigners among us had to abide by our laws and were subject to the very same punishments or chastisements in the event of breaking our laws. But somehow the women escaped. We're finding out no. That means if she can be put to death for adultery or whoredom, then how you gonna tell me she can't have an ass whooping as a strategy, as an approach to trying to prevent her from having to be stoned? You don't see how the Most High, the Bible teaches us how to think. So now that's one level of marriage. We ain't see nothing about no paperwork. We saw the father and the man or the groom to be. Let's move on down, Amayetazar. Let's get through this chapter, verse 21.
Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she have wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
All right, now that was marriage. Now we're going to deal, same thing, issues of consummation, issues of adultery. Read on down into verse 22.
Verse 22. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shall thou put away evil from Israel.
So there, right off the bat, that one's not focusing on what, that one's straight up adultery. We're going to move back down into marriage now. Go ahead, Amiyatazar.
Verse 23. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her.
Now this is what? This is a woman who's spoken for, who is to be given to someone. Today we would say engaged. Her fiancé is already determined. Go ahead.
Then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he have humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you. So
far we finding nothing about no paperwork. I'm reading about more stones than paper. Let's see if some scissors pop up. You know, be doing paper, stone, rock, scissors, paper, stone. I don't know where these brothers be getting the paper from. The documentation. Now, let me say this. Israel did keep records of birth records, who were the son or the daughter of what couple, and we did keep marriage records. We kept records of things that took place, but there was no need to go out and get no, because when they speak of without the paperwork, they're saying birth, what do you call that? A marriage license. That's what they're saying. They're saying this instant. There was no, quote, bureaucratic institution that governed the process of a man, you understand, and a woman coming together. The institution that monitored or that controlled that was the body, was the families, was the body of the people. It was no governmental thing or no governmental bureaucratic institution. Go ahead, Amiyat. I'll call you verse out.
Okay, verse 25 now. But if a man find
what we found out in this one, we found out that what got this woman killed was that she was in the city. That means what? That she was in a populated area where had she cried out, somebody would have heard her. And people responded to those blood-curdling shrieks of a woman back then. So she cried out, somebody would come to her, but because this could happen in a city where had she cried out, somebody would have heard her. Because she didn't, it cost her her life because it implies that she was complicit in the rape, so to speak. If that's if she was taken by force, then she would display the actions of a woman being taken by force.
So I think so. What we can assume when it says if the man find her in the city and lie with her, basically, like we can assume that there was obviously some type of conversation taking place.
Well, yeah, that's why I said that exactly. Well, let me say, see, it's minus in the dynamic. It's not given the details because back then we weren't as ignorant as we play like we are today.
Yeah.
We know that there's a process that you go through. You meet up, the little workplace flirtations and all. You know what I mean? Or you see somebody. I mean, come on, who haven't had somebody? That was a chick at El Pollo Loco I used to go to back in LA just to rap with her, man, on Century and Crenshaw. El Pollo Loco. I gotta go get my little bit of hey, how you at the counter rap with you, girl? What's that? You know what I mean? Sometimes she worked the drive-through. Damn, gotta go back and come back in my car. You know what I mean? Now that's when you go to Kmart or someplace where there's some chick that you like, and so you always go there and just buy little stuff that you don't need. Now imagine being at the workplace and on, like you said, those workplace flirtations. So this right here is telling you, it didn't say, it's talking about anywhere in the city in any circumstance. You know, you find out there's a chick down the street that lived for me, that she do all her laundry in this day, you start going on that day to get your laundry done. Whatever circumstance, this woman is married, and you know it. That's what it also implies, that the man knows it. Go ahead.
So verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
So the field represents those rural areas where the neighbors is like 1.5 to 6 miles away. Because you have areas like that. You got areas where, you know, people are stacked on top of each other, like in New York and like in other, you know, out here where I'm at, got neighbors all, the houses are stacked here so close together. When you walk up our street, our house look like a mansion because all the houses are so close together, you can only see our door. They're like, damn, Kawakab living in this big old. No, we don't. It's like 8 houses all crammed up together. So it would be hard for something like that in the city to take place. And the woman say he was forced upon me. Well, why didn't you scream? But the field represents a different setup with the neighbors. So that means you got, like you said, a country, man. Every 1.5 miles to 6 miles away is a neighbor. So if this man take her in the field, only he would die. Now this is called because it's making an assumption. It's making an assumption on behalf or in favor of the woman. She could have easily been complicit, but because this thing takes place in the field. Go ahead, Amiyetazar.
Verse 25. So, but if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. I've got to share this with you.
Go ahead, what you got?
So, 1 second. So a few days ago, just in line with this scripture. So this guy here, he went to a school, and there was a teenage girl. I'm not sure exactly how old this girl was. So this guy basically walked up to the girl. As we're reading now, I imagine he was talking. He was talking to this girl, convinced this girl, whatever, said some shit to her. Then he took her into some random place, had her perform a sex act on him, right? And then he tried to kidnap her. But some woman, some stranger, saw that, and basically she accosted this guy. Is that your child? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
that means the girl literally looked that young.
Yeah, exactly. She was a schoolgirl.
Right.
She was a schoolgirl, right? So basically, he's a pedophile. And so, so the strangers was like basically saying to this guy, "Are you related to that girl? Are you related to that child?" And he was trying to say, "Yes, I am." But then they asked the child, and the child was like, "No, no, no." The child started crying. Was like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." So I'm saying, so now this guy now handed himself in, and so obviously now he's going to be sentenced. Was obviously the young girl wasn't at fault there, you know. And so she didn't have sex.
Let me say this, even if she consented, being a child, she's not at the age where she can consent to that type of action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what Esau's trying to do now. Esau's trying to lower the age that these pedophile Democrats, man, they're trying to lower the age of consent for child sex, brother. This is horrible. But anyway, thank you for that, Yetazah.
Verse 26.
Verse 20. No, you read that. Verse 27.
For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
So check that out. So that means what? She has to have. Now, let's say in the field she didn't cry. There was nobody to find out. But why? So how do we know? She obviously came back and told. She obviously came back and reported it. Okay, move on down. We're almost done with this chapter.
Verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed,
now this is what we would call a single young lady. She's a damsel of marital age. She's not betrothed, right? Go ahead.
And lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found.
Now, when it says lay hold on her, these cats from DMS back in the day, I don't know if they're still saying that, were acting like this was something that was done by force. Lay hold on her. When you put this together with Ezekiel chapter, Exodus chapter 16 or Exodus chapter 21 and 16, it tells you, and he what? And he enticed her. That's what laying hold on means. Meaning she consents and she lies with him. Go ahead, Yetazah.
29. Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife. Because he have humbled her, he may not put her away all his days.
So there you go. Nothing about, and this is for the most part it. There's nothing else about no paperwork. So that's a lie that these people be talking about, where if you that's Roman Catholicism diluted. That's all it is. It's a Roman. Let me put it like this: if Roman Catholicism was a product, this BS is a Roman Catholicism distillate. It's a product of Roman Catholicism. That dynamic, that dogma, that lie. Now, let's go to Matthew chapter 13 and deal with. See, that's the whole point. Let's go first. Go and read it. Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13. I will tell you when we get there what verse we are working with. Forgive me for taking so long to get there, y'all. Okay. Whosoever shall have. Yeah, we're going to start off at verse 24, okay? This is the parable. So this is talking about mansers. Now we already, Daviyah, help me out. One of the criteria of the manzer was that what? That if they were born, no, what Esau called being illegitimate, not being from a state approved or a state certified marriage.
They use the scripture that babies born out of wedlock. The concept is babies being born out of wedlock would be a mamzer because they would be a bastard because they wouldn't have, they go into definitions. Born out of wedlock means that you didn't have, your parents weren't married at the time. So
Yeah, but see, that's the point. What is married? We just found out what married is. And even the Israelite groups are like all into that. You know, I'm talking about these massive groups, man. They're all into the worship aspect of a man and a woman being together. They're all into what people call romance. That's the worship of your spouse. And it usually don't be the women worshiping the men. We all know that. You understand? And you hear it in songs and in movies. The nigga go crazy because she done broke up with him, or she don't, she won't talk to him, or whatever it is. They make songs that attribute godlike qualities to the woman. Be telling her how she brings up the sun, how her eyes look like pools. The stars. If I could bring down, what do they say? If I could bring a star, how do they say that? There's a saying with a guy like, if I could, I would bring you the stars and some garbage like that. Well, why would you do that when it was put up there for everybody?
As yet, yeah, come.
You selfish ass. Why would you do that? Who the hell is she that she does? And I hope you burn her and yourself. Bringing it. Come on, I would get you a star. You know what I mean? Because what is that? That's adoration. So that's the reason why I say that is because they have attributed an unnecessary procedure that the Most High just told us. It's between. Now, why did we just read what we read at the end, verse 28 and 29? Because that was written so that we would know how to proceed if in the event a man didn't go to a woman's father. Y'all understand that? If in the event that the marriage was not arranged by the father of the damsel and the groom to be, what we just read was how it was supposed to happen. And nothing to do with the state, nothing to do with a third party. The third party would come in if there was a dispute. And we read the dispute. The dispute would be what? This woman, I don't believe she was a virgin. That would be the only instance in which a third party would come in and mediate. You good, Amiyata-san?
I'm gonna send you.
I thought you wanted to say something.
Oh no. I'm gonna send you this.
Okay, well you gotta doing something, man. Stop saying, I'm over there mumbling. I thought you were trying to make a point out.
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah, because it's distracting if you're not saying something with respect to what we're dealing with. So we're starting off now. Now we're going to go into the out of wedlock is out the way. Was that clear for you guys? The so-called paperwork, right? Out of wedlock. Now the Bible does speak. Let's deal with that since the term wedlock came up. I'm gonna get you before we go to Matthew. Hold on. Oh, I got it right here. Before we go to, let me make sure I save my place. Before we go to Matthew chapter 13, let's go deal with the issue of wedlock. Now, we're going to start off, we're going to go to Ecclesiasticus chapter, in the Apocrypha, chapter 23. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 23. I'm a Yatazah, and you're going to start off at verse 18.
Okay. Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 and verse 18. A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness.
Hold on. I see some people still flipping. Wait, start all over again. Wait till everybody get it.
Okay, sorry.
It's in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus chapter 23, and we're going to start off at verse 18. Okay, you can begin again, Amiyatazah.
A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins.
So this is a person doing something in secret concerning marriage. That's why it says wedlock. Now, based on what we just read and what we know biblically, how does a man break wedlock? A man breaks wedlock by finding himself in another man's wife's bed, or bringing another wife to his bed. A man does not break wedlock by having another woman, because the Bible, we can go. Matter of fact, first let's prove that that's not what wedlock is for a man. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to Deuteronomy 21. Let's go there. Deuteronomy 21. Let me get there. Yeah. And you're going to read verses 15 through 17, Amayetazah.
If a man, Deuteronomy 21 and verse 15.
Now, what are we doing here? We're qualifying what wedlock is by demonstrating what wedlock is not. So people said, when you read that, Israelites will break that down and be trying to show, brother, see, that's why you can't have more than one woman. Brother, you're breaking wedlock. No, a man doesn't break wedlock by that, and this is going to prove it. Go ahead, Amayetazah.
If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated.
Listen to that. This man have two wives. When it says the beloved and the hated, this is where the scriptures, this is how the scriptures describe a woman being favored as opposed to not being favored. It doesn't even mean ill favored. It means that there's one that's preferred. So it turns out that he's got two wives, and the one that is preferred is not the one who bore the first male child. So the Most High is going to show us he is about fairness, and the only issue that the Most High have with a man having more than one wife are two issues: that they not belong to any other man first, and that when the first male is born, whoever the wife that bear that child has to be recognized as the firstborn, even if it comes from the one that's not your favorite. The woman is inconsequential. Who was born unto you first? Then that's his issue. It ain't got nothing to do with her feelings. Go ahead, Amayetazah.
The bottom of verse 15. And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he have, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn.
Yeah, they both bore children for him, but the favorite bore one second. He can't turn around because she's his favorite and make her son or recognize her son as the firstborn. They ain't got nothing to do with feelings. They ain't got nothing to do with all of the Edomite and foreign information, right? Foreign traditions concerning a matrimony. Go ahead. Verse 17.
But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated.
Yes, are you distracted up?
No, I'm good.
Come on, now. I need you to lock in, brother.
Verse 17. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he have. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his.
Okay, now, so what does that show us? Now let me go get something real quick. And the Most High have even used these men that had multiple wives to deliver the nation, like David, before he even had wives. But he became king and had many wives. Gideon, the one who the Most High used to deliver us from the hand of the Midianites. The scriptures say he had 70 sons because he had many wives. They don't even tell you how many wives he had. But he had so many wives, he had enough to bear 70 sons. So that's proof that now let's go back to
Ecclesiasticus.
Ecclesiastes.
Matthew.
I'm sorry. No, we're going to Ecclesiastes. We didn't finish that. What I wanted to do was define wedlock by showing what wedlock isn't. People think that a man breaks wedlock when he get another woman. So now we're gonna go. What this is really talking about is adultery. It goes with what we read in Deuteronomy chapter 22 concerning a man being with a woman of another man. So go ahead and start back at chapter 23 of Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha and verse 18.
Okay. A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins.
So he's with another man's wife. He's with someone who's already spoken for, someone who's already either betrothed or married. And he thinks because her husband can't see it, because the people, the neighbors, the community don't know what's taking place. Go ahead, Amayatazan.
Verse 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts.
They're always there. The angels of the Lord are always watching us, always. And the scriptures tell you that they're 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Look at what they have to do just to remain, quote, in our presence. Aside from us being blinded to their presence, just for them to be in our presence and not burn us the hell up. So this man doesn't know that the angels is right there watching him and recording. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 20. He knew all things ere ever they were created. So also after they were perfected, he looked upon them all. This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and where he suspecteth not, he shall be taken.
Hey, this is how the Most High is. The Most High, now this dude has the Most High and those spirits of vengeance that we read about in hot pursuit of this dude, and he's going to be taken where he expected not. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband and bringeth in an heir by another.
Hey, this woman just be leaving brothers and going in, or staying with him and getting pregnant, trying to fool you. This shows you the Most High it's equal. In other words, we're all under the law. So now, if you had a son and he started showing tendencies of what? Of adulterous tendencies, you wouldn't just reprimand him verbally, you would beat his ass. You would whoop him in an attempt to what? To save him from having to be stoned to death, like we just read in chapter 22 of Deuteronomy. And then it would be the same with this woman. That's why the scriptures say, watch over that shamefaced daughter. And then when she sass back at you, you smack her ass. See, Peter, I'm glad this is on you because people don't believe. That's what we read in the Bible. Because it's that, or she gonna get stoned in the future. And the Most High had all type of things to let men know. The Most High would send the spirit of, that's in the book of Numbers. If the Most High sent the spirit of jealousy to a man, there was a potion. He would be in his jealousy. He could go to the priest, and the priest would make a potion that the woman had to drink. And when she drank that, it says that if she was guilty, it says her thigh would rot. That means that that sexual organ would become putrid. But if it wasn't, and if it was just him being jealous, then nothing would happen. Read on down, Amayetazar. So it says, thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband and bringeth in an heir by another. Continue.
Just go, follow on from that. Proverbs 13 and 24.
Read it.
It said,
Hold up. Proverbs chapter 13.
Yeah.
And verse 24. Just so that they can write it down. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse what?
24.
24. Go ahead.
Yeah. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. So are basically people saying that you're only supposed to chastise your son and not your daughter?
That's what they believe. When I'm
Wow.
talking about the congregation, I'm talking about in the world now.
Man.
In the world, how many times have we seen the nigga movies where they show the woman that, no, my daddy don't even hit me. And that's why you out here in the street being a whore.
I grew up, girls got whooped just like the boys did.
Just like them. And that's why some of them ain't got no teeth, you know?
That's mad.
So, yeah, because what are you trying to do? You're trying to help them make a successful transition into adulthood.
Exactly.
That's the whole point. And so you're doing that to spare their life, to preserve them, and to have them into what? They are the continuance of you.
You know what? This makes sense, Kawakab. Literally every day when I'm going to work, right? I don't know if it's the same in America, but you get schoolgirls. I'm talking around the age of 13, 14, really young. Kawakab, these girls are wearing micro skirts, not mini skirts.
Yes.
I'm talking about micro skirts where you can see the bottom of their bum cheek.
Band around the pubic hairs, man. That's what
honestly. And I'm like, you are a child. How do your parents allow you to leave your house? I'm talking about
most of them come from single parent homes, and the mother buys that stuff and be thinking that it's cute.
That's a good point. Someone's bought that for the child. That's a good point.
They ain't got no job. When you was out here, you used to see all these little 10-year-old girls in hoe boots, man.
Yeah, this is different.
Like Rick James, literally, man, with boots running up there. Where's this little hoe's guitar?
For real. But the whole boots are different. I'm talking about like these girls are walking in front of me and I'm seeing their bum cheeks hanging out their skirts and they're going to school. I'm like, how are even teachers allowing these girls to dress like that? That's not appropriate school uniform. But as you're saying, now,
if you go to the school, you got teachers dressing like whores. Y'all ain't seen all those. You ain't seen all of those photos of those teachers, busty teachers, and they just wear tight. It's like, let me say this out, and this is why the Most High is coming back to wreak hell on us. Because, like, I remember when I used to watch the news, Latin America is horrible for that. Because anytime the woman has some position in front of the camera, it's no longer about her job. It's no longer about the weather. It's no longer about sports. It's all about her and her little wardrobe, her and her little titties, her and her little bum. I'm using your words now. You know what I mean? Because bum for us is niggas out here. Bum for the Brits is the booty. But when you say bum to us, and that's nigga all, done shit in his pants and stuff, that's a bum. But you understand how many exercise? It be the parents. That's why we're reading this. This is like this because we were put in a position where we wouldn't do it. Remember, the kids are walking around dressed like little gangsters. Like the men are dressed like little girls, and the girls are dressed like little whores. And it's because back in the day we used to sacrifice these little ones to the Molech. We used to sacrifice them. So now, having been chastised, put under the governor or the governing of our enemies, and having the authority over our children to raise them stripped from us, look at what's taking place. This is what the Most High was trying to train us. This is what we had coming. The men are responsible for this. So, okay, I'm gonna get this. I want to finish up on this one.
Verse 23.
Verse 23.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 23 and verse 23. For first, she have disobeyed the law of the Most High. And secondly, she have trespassed against her own husband. And thirdly, she have played the whore in adultery and brought children by another man.
See, so this is where all these baby mamas be having 20 daddies. They be having all of these kids. I come from a home. I don't say this with my nose up. I'm a man that have 5 siblings and all of us got different fathers. And we was all born addicted to heroin because she took heroin while she was with us. She took heroin when she wasn't with us. I don't know how we ended up becoming wards of the state, but we didn't grow up with our parents. So this is something that this is the outcome of poor parenting or not parenting at all. Go ahead.
Verse 24. She shall be brought out into the congregation, and inquisition shall be made of her children.
So now, as far as marriages are concerned, this is the few place where you'll find when it says inquisition being made of her children, that means she's under investigation for who are the children of these, who are the fathers of these children. That's what it means, because she's an adulteress. Whose father is this one? Is this the son of the righteous man that you left? He'll be spared. But watch what happens to the children of the adulterers. Read on down.
Verse 25. Her children shall not take root, and her branches shall bring forth no fruit.
Brother, the Most High, the parents bring a curse on their own kids. They don't, when it says they don't take root, that means their seed is not going to continue. And I know that because I got one brother that got shot and killed. The Most High, I'm thankful. Another brother used to get brother. I don't even know if my oldest brother is in his right mind now. He might be. He might have recovered. He was getting beat down so many times he couldn't think right. But with this circumstance is true because I've seen it and experienced it. Both my sisters are lesbians. So what it means not taking root? They clearly ain't gonna be bearing no children. This is a dynamic that's real. We go out and do these things. The Most High, we curse, our lineage be cursed. And we don't take root. We become what? The fodder. We become what the Most High is going to use to what? To feed the fuels of chastisement and all those death angels, the 2/3, in other words, that's going to be fed to the fuels of riots, pestilence, all the different forms of deaths that those who would have not returned to the Most High is going to suffer. The only escape for any child out of this is what? Is the Most High putting his hand on you and bringing you to him. That's the only escape.
This is powerful. This is why it's so important for I think it was with the Saturday congregation we were speaking about this last week, but it's so important to be in the scriptures and to have this time, because when you look at people in the world, the music that they listen to, like R&B, all they're ever talking about is basically sleeping with another man's woman, the women talking about cheating on their guys. And so if you're in the world and that's all you're being indoctrinated
you're
with.
You're being hypnotized, you're being bewitched.
Yeah.
That's what you're being programmed to go out and perform all of that.
Exactly, because they're normalizing it in your mind, like your morals and your values are being compromised.
Now remember, they ain't just listening to music no more. They make videos, so now they're giving you a visual of what the song is. And I saw somebody posted a video of R. Kelly and one of the Ron Isley, and old ass Ron Isley come home and R. Kelly is in his bed. I don't know what. Yeah. But he brings and old ass Ron Isley bring his crew, bunch of old ass niggas with guns.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if they could pull the trigger. All the niggas look like they had arthritis. They couldn't even have pulled the trigger. Then all of a sudden, R. Kelly, I'm gonna show you something. All of a sudden, R. Kelly's younger crew pop up with their guns and they escort him and the woman that's half naked, wrapped up in the sheets.
What?
Escort him out, saying, "Nigga, I'm taking your woman." This is what they're pushing.
Wow. Al-Qaeda wrote, does this apply to those who know they are Israel, or will the Most High still wink at the ignorance?
No, the Most High is definitely winking at the ignorance. He's winking at the shit. I'm guilty of this. Who ain't guilty of all of this? My parents are clearly guilty of it. Got brothers that are 6'4", 6'5". I'm running around here 5'5", as if my daddy sneezed in the middle of something. I guess my daddy was in a rush. He couldn't put the work in. I didn't get the hype that the other ones had time to put in there, you know? Shoot. So the point is, yeah, that's what the scriptures tell you, that at the times of sin, this is in Acts chapter 17, verse 30. At the times of sin, the Most High winked at, but now calleth all men to repentance everywhere, meaning everywhere Israel is, the Most High is calling us to him. And that's why I said those who would have not come back to the Most High. And remember, only He determines that. So continue on the Yetazah, verse
26.
Yeah.
She shall leave her memory to be cursed, and her reproach shall not be blotted out. And they that remain shall know that there is nothing better than the fear of the Lord, and that there is nothing sweeter than to take heed unto the commandments of the Lord. It is great glory to follow the Lord, and to be received of him is long life.
Now let's take this and make it apply to this whole mamzer born out of wedlock. Now in the verses that apply to the man, verses 18 to verse 21, we clearly see that a man breaking wedlock is what? He breaks wedlock when he goes and defiles another man's bed, meaning takes another man's wife. The woman breaks wedlock when she gives herself to another man other than her husband. Now, we already found out, how does wedlock get established? Wedlock does not get established by going to some building, applying for a license, taking blood tests, and then getting approved and receiving a certificate. We already read how wedlock is established between the parents of the party, particularly the parent of the daughter, the parent of the young woman. Now, it also can be worked out with the parent, like Abraham worked out Isaac's marriage, but it was done through his servant. Abraham was too old to travel. He went on and had his servant do it and came back. And then you can read about how that was done. That was done with the father and her brothers. They didn't go up to they didn't get to Padan Aram and say, listen, where's the municipal building? Where's the county court? What do they call it? The county courthouse. Yeah, I just come down from the land of Canaan, and we coming up looking for a wife, and so we need to put in an application so that we can take Bethuel's daughter back with us. No. So that wedlock is established through the party or the families of those individuals involved to be married. And then breaking wedlock, now we know, is when one or the other commit adultery. So that's like, that was it. They be saying this stuff, and then they don't come with they don't come with any scriptures. And the scriptures that they do bring, they don't know how to break them down clearly. Yes, Dawiyah.
Because they harp on using the definition, right? They're using the definition, but it's not scripturally founded. It's based on another book.
And that's what they be doing with everything. They're going to the book of Satan. They'll go to all of these books to show what all the other nations didn't say, so therefore you can't do it. Well, you can't do no evil, but concerning things and traditions and things here on earth, the Most High have been very specific with what he prohibits us from doing by saying, thou shalt not. So that was it, brother. Let me say this. The issue, this is why, like I said, the problem is that these people haven't gone through the process. Let me put it like this. They bypassed an important era in their development, and that is the era of servitude, because it's the era that you never come out of. Servitude begins with sitting down and being taught, sitting down and asking your questions. That's, this internet has been a double-edged sword, one edge for the better and one edge for the worse. But guess what happened? The Most High knows what he's doing. And the ones that end up getting it for the worse is because that's what they had coming, because that's what they cleaved to. This is why Christ chastised certain people in Jerusalem, where he said, woe be unto you, because the queen of the south came up. It says she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And lo, a greater than Solomon is here. He said, this woman heard of Solomon's wisdom and came up from other countries to see if it was true. He says, I'm right here living among you, and you won't come to me. So these people they'll sacrifice things that they want, things that they have in exchange for things that they want. But when they don't take the measures, and I don't mean pick up stakes and physically move. I have people that call me, they see, like Chauncey Amayetazar down in Louisville, Kentucky. You got like the couple in Ohio, like the couple in Atlanta, like the group in California. Look at how far people go when they want this knowledge. And then what they the yoke that they put themselves through, you become servants to the work. But you become servants to the teachers, because that's how you what? That's how you get the thing handed down to you. Now, when I say servants to the teachers, I ain't talking about slaves. I'm talking about co-laborers. What do you think? Why do you think Elisha, what was Elisha called in relation to Elijah?
No problem. It is a servant, but in the world, they will say, okay, he's your mentor, you're the mentee.
An apprentice or protege.
Yeah, it's a servant either way.
Like, but I'm talking about slave. It's a servant, but I'm talking about not like a slave. And that's why I want to use the example of Elijah and Elisha. Elisha was known as the servant of Elijah, or in other areas, the servant of the man of the Most High. Gehazi, who was Elisha's servant, was known as the servant of the man of the Most High. Joshua was known as Moses' servant, or the servant of the man of the Most High. They were always the one who the responsibility was being handed down to. So, in other words, they bypassed that and they want to become teachers, but this is a process that Christ referred to as the straight gate. You don't get those virtues. You don't get that understanding. You understand? You don't get that in the scriptures. I can show you that. Matter of fact, let's go there. I'm not putting off Matthew 13, but Matthew 13 is brief. It's not long. But go to Isaiah chapter 28.
Isaiah 28.
I'm gonna show you what, and then I'm gonna show you what it results in. In other words, the lack of going through, experiencing the proper channels of development. Well, let me say this. What happens if you're growing up to be a doctor and you're not going to any of your classes, but you happen to be very well connected, and so you get through med school, you get through pre-med, you get through your undergrad, all that stuff, and you eventually somehow end up with a practice. You know how many malpractice suits this person gonna have because he really doesn't know his craft? He really is not properly skilled and educated in his trade. That's how it is with anything, with mechanics.
Yeah.
You can't know a little something about the car. Yeah, I used to change the brakes one time. You know, nigga, that ain't good enough. You gotta be able to take an engine and break it down and put it back together to where it purrs better than it was. Because that's why they brought it to you in the first place. And I keep hearing this knock. You do all those diagnoses and say, man, listen up, we gotta go inside and pull them valves out. What happens is you have a warped head. We're gonna see if we could go ahead and resurface it and get you a new head gasket, right? But then when they get inside it, brother, your block is cracked, man. You gotta go in that car and build it back up from the inside, the guts inside outward. And you'll know you're good when that thing purrs like it did when you first bought it.
Yeah.
Now that's how you gotta be in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And you only come up, how do you get that? You come up under a trade school where they start from scratch and say, this is the steering wheel. You know what I mean? They start from scratch and say, this is the muffler. Now we're going to go and study the virtues or the qualities of a combustion engine. They're going to show you how that thing works. They're going to show you how the timing chain, the air fuel mixture, everything that makes that, and then not only do they show you that, they help you be able to identify the sounds when something is off. Nope, that's because there's a problem with the air fuel mixture. Nope, that's because the spark plugs are not firing. Nope, that's because the timing chain is off. These are all the guts of the car. Now, you got to know the guts of the scriptures. And when you don't do that, you don't have a nuance. This Most High don't send you that virtue where your thinking becomes it, because the scriptures tell you, you end up getting the mind of Christ. So how do you acquire the mind of Christ? In search of or in acquisition of the mind of Christ. That's what we are. So I want that verse. I guess it's starting at verse 9. It said in chapter 28, Isaiah, whom shall the Lord teach now? Chapter 28 and verse 9, is that it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Go ahead and read that.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
Now, there's a difference between the two. He's asking two questions.
Mm.
Whom shall the Lord teach knowledge? And who shall he make to understand the doctrine? Because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the knowledge of the Bible. People can tell you about David and Bathsheba. They can tell you about him killing the giant. They can tell you about all of these things, right? There's knowledge of the Bible, the history. But what about the message embedded in it? Whom shall he make? See, you can learn the knowledge, but you have to be made to understand the doctrine. Because that's what the doctrine is, things like breaking down the Immaculate Conception, breaking down what is the Holy Spirit. You understand? Those are things, the issues or topics that define what the message is. Reincarnation. You got brothers out there, the R word. Brother, it's regeneration. They don't understand. The one is how the Most High performs the other. Regeneration is to be what? To be regenerated. To have been here and then to be regenerated, to be brought back. Generate means to bring forth, to create. But how does the Most High create you? The scriptures tell you that you be a spirit here, you get called home, your body go to the dust, and the spirit goes back to the Father that sent it. But then he says, he calleth the spirit and he sent it back, and there the earth is replenished. Then he gives you all these examples of people that did that. That's why Elijah tells you he came back and he was John the Baptist. This is why it tells you that the Most High told David, I'm gonna send you, you're gonna have a son through your loins. He's gonna build my temple. His kingdom is gonna be forever. But if he break my laws, I will chastise him with the rod of men. Solomon did just that. He built the Most High's temple. He broke the Lord's laws, but two things he didn't fulfill. His kingdom didn't last forever. It only lasted 40 years. And then what? And he wasn't chastised by the rod of men. He would come back and perform that as Christ. So reincarnation is the concept of what? Of being incarnate. It means to take on meat, to take on a body, to embody. That's what reincarnate means. Incarnate means to embody. Reincarnate means to embody again. So how is embodiment done again? So far, from all of our time, through regeneration. Meaning what? The fathers continue to what? Procreate and procreate until the Most High decide to put your spirit back in one of them again. That's what makes the regeneration of Christ so powerful, because we're going to be regenerated in an instant. We're going to be brought from the dead. Those that have passed will be regenerated, bang, from the spirit, the word of the Most High, from his command. And then all of us, once we will have passed that test in the wilderness, it says will be changed in the twinkling of an eye. That's what makes that part, the regeneration of Christ, so powerful. So, whom shall he make to understand, or whom shall the Lord teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand the doctrine? Go ahead and read on down, Yetazah.
So this is Isaiah 28 and verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts.
So hold on. So now he's telling you how. And people don't understand that. Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. So what we have to do is define then what is the milk. We already know what the breast is. The breast is the source from where the milk is drawn. So if we find out what the milk is, then we'll know what the breast is. So where do we go? We go to desire ye first the sincere milk. Find that on me, Yatazah.
Okay.
LT, you know what that is. Yeah, 1 Peter chapter 3 is in verse 1 and 2, I think, something like that.
Was it 1 Peter 2 and 2?
Is it chapter 2? It might be.
I got down here. I got here 2 and 2.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 and 2. For 2 and 1 first. We'll start 2 and 1.
Go ahead. We'll start off in verse 1. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1 and 2.
Okay. As newborn babes, desire sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby.
How do you grow? Now Peter is continuing with the analogy used in the Old Testament. But what is he telling us? he's telling us what is the frame of mind that we're supposed to be in. He says, as newborn babes. Newborn babes don't know anything. Newborn babes, their dominant quality is curiosity. And we know that their minds are sponges. And then they get certain age when they start talking, and all of a sudden you find out even when they were infants, they were listening and watching and recording, because they start saying things that you say. They start talking about things that you didn't hear. You be like, whoa. So he's telling us what to do. He's saying, in the mind of a babe, desire ye first the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. You grow by the milk. But we still don't know what the milk is. This is just confirming that, yes, you have to come in and start it. And that's why I said, them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, just like a baby. So we go from there to Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12 on the Ekazah, where it says, it's going to be 12 to 14.
For the time you ought to be teachers.
Yes, and this specifically applies to these cats. They think that they're teachers. They've promoted and established themselves as teachers. Y'all hold on, I pull this hot sweater up. They think that they're teachers. So go ahead and read that on me. It's Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12.
For the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High.
And that's why these cats be out there coming up with all of these doctrines. And you got to go back and teach them the first principles. What? The first principles. What is the first principle? First, they got to find out what book it is that they're dealing with. The Bible, what is it? It's a tool, but what is it? It's the nature of its operation. You got to teach them that, and you got to teach them the first thing that the Most High, when it says, read it again on the Ekazah, and have become need, what?
Verse 12, for the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High.
What are the first things that the Most High gave us? He gave us the 10 commandments, and then followed by a long period of time when he was giving to us the law. That's the first thing they got to learn. And all of this is called something. Continue to read on the Ekazah.
And are become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat.
So the milk is the first principles of the oracles of the Most High. So that means these cats came in and got taught and had the law given to them, been versed in the commandments, and all of those foundationary information, the foundationary scriptures. They got to get that. And that is milk. So the scriptures is telling you, whom shall he teach the knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand the doctrine? Them that are weaned off of the laws, the statutes, and commandments, and drawn from the breast. If the milk of these scriptures, then the breast being the source of milk is the Bible itself. So why they keep using all these other books? Like I give a damn about Anton LaVey and the book of Satan, and what the hell the Egyptians used to do, and what the Greeks used to do. Yes, I'm a Yatazah.
Can I ask you a question? So in Israel, we often teach the importance of coming in, getting taught, and then teaching others.
Right.
And so for me, and I'm always going on about the level of mediocrity in Israel. Right. And that is partly because people are coming in, they're getting taught, and they're not submitting themselves to these elders, right? They're not learning how to think differently. They're not, because I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I'm thinking to myself, literally, there is a science to this thing. And Kawakab is dropping, honestly, and I'm like, you're dropping the gems on really how to get connected to the Most High and how to excel in the spirit of the Most High. And I'm thinking to myself, how many people are actually listening to this and they're actually, taking it on board, inculcating it, and then thinking to themselves, okay, let me submit now? Or are they going to just continue?
Hey, listen, brother, that's a whole nother class. And I'm not, when I say whole of the class, meaning the dynamic, the Most High is in charge of the dynamic. That's what's scary about it. If you weren't compelled or moved to come and do more, it doesn't mean that you're less. You have to, in other words, the question would be, what part of the body have you been determined to be? And then are you at least fulfilling that? See, they don't have to come in and do what I'm doing or what you're doing or what the next man is doing. But have you submitted to the Most High, come in, and the scriptures tell you how you get your gift. He says your gift is already in you. But it's brought out by what? It says, by the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. That means you have to come in and submit. The laying on of the hands ain't saying a war's going to come and lay his hand on your forehead. They're saying you're going to come in and he's going to put time into you.
Yeah.
The laying on of the hands is the time that's invested in you. Your qualities emerge, and then you get put in a position, you undertake a responsibility, and you develop in that responsibility, because that's where all your flaws. If you're lazy, it's gonna go. What he was telling you about the movement come. It's the same as these stars. If you ain't got no faith, it's gonna pop up in your work. If you don't have no discipline, it's gonna pop up in your work. If you ain't got, you understand? If you're all these things, but if you're the opposite, if you're zealous, if you're humble, if you can be, it's all gonna show in your work. And then you're gonna end up being put over. I mean, I'm gonna run with a awards platform. Somebody's gonna have to inherit that moving thing. Somebody's gonna have to inherit. When I say inherit, I mean the responsibility and run with it and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
But if you don't get developed. You got guys sit back wondering where they fit in. You won't come and give yourself up. You won't come and say, let me find out, because that's what the scriptures say.
Do you know what's so funny? Those are Ashwan's words to the T.
I know. That's who I'm referring to. That's funny. I wasn't going to pull the brother's name out. I was just going to say his initials, maybe. But those were his words. But what? But he was being shown. But what happened? Remember, he was slothful.
Yeah.
Remember, he was arrogant.
Yeah.
He was selfish.
Yeah.
He was deceitful.
Yeah.
And so he got pissed off that he taught you. You came from London, came down to here, and in a matter of 6 months, you had excelled him. Because why? Because you came and you had a work ethic, and you was learning, you was humble. And brother, I took it, you know good well, when did you ever see me lighten in on him like I did you?
No, didn't have it at
The
all.
one time I did it, you were there when I did it. I mean, he blew up, kicked all the stuff off the place. He couldn't handle it. I said, okay, I see this dude raised by his mama, he's all feminine. I'm gonna have to take more time with him. But you couldn't take time. He wouldn't listen. Told this nigga he had measles. Brother, you can't be sleeping up in this store. Take your ass home. You got measles. No, I talked to this Edomite in the store today, and they told me that I just had a rash. Brother, your ass got measles. I said, you're gonna start a damn epidemic coming out of this store. And what was it? Listen, it was amazing that the Most High sent you and me to the store that night.
Yeah.
We had already closed.
Yeah.
We had class. And I said, brother, some said, man, let's stop by the store. I don't know what it was. But whatever it was just to get there to see him with measles laying on the damn floor.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, that's the problem. But and so the process is, let me put it like this, using the scripture as a template. Out of all the people that benefited from Christ's virtue, and I mean literally, from the thousands of people, the 3,000 men on one occasion that was fed, right, with a basket or two of fish and bread, and on another occasion, 5,000 beforehand, and it said on both occasions, those amounts, 3,000 and 5,000, not counting the men and the women, I mean the women and the children. Out of all of those that received that mercy, people raised from the dead, demons thrown out of people, people made to stand up and walk after having been born lame, people born with blind and receiving their sight in an instant, not having headaches because of the new light. What is this stuff? And at his death, he only had 120 people that followed him. So what do you expect? Us who ain't, quote, doing no miracles, who ain't, quote, raising nobody from the dead, who ain't, quote, feeding thousands of people. who you can't come up and touch my clothes and get healed. You're gonna touch my clothes and get my clothes are gonna rip they so old. So it depends on the person who's drawn to it, huh? But once again, them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, now we're finding out that the milk is the first principles of the oracles of the Most High. And so the oracles of the Most High can be found in one place and one place only, and that's the Bible. So that's who he's going to make. But then what did that come with? Huh? That comes with servitude. That comes with, like I said, the examples are there. And they're there from the time of Moses. You understand? That's why Joshua was given the charge of what? Of taking the land of Canaan. And so on and so forth. So that was, listen, so read that. I want to go ahead. Listen, I want to go ahead. I want you to finish that up. You just did verse, was that the end of verse 12?
Yeah.
Go ahead and read it from the top, from 12 again.
Okay. Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12. For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat.
Now he's going to tell you what position you find yourself in. If you're still struggling like mamzer, that's covered by the law. The law tells you what wedlock is. The law tells you what it is that when you're breaking wedlock. Go ahead.
Verse 13. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness.
Just because you know the law, that's the first principle, the first of the oracles. But just because you know that, you're still unskillful. But I'm going to tell you what you got to go through in order to gain that skill, in order to develop that spiritual maturity. Continue.
For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
Listen, it says they that are of strong meat, read it from that verse again. They that are of strong meat are what? Okay,
verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age.
Now stop. What does full age mean? Because it don't mean 90 years old, right? You got some brothers that was, oh, well, I got to the truth. These cats was 23 and sharp. It's talking about, listen, I'm going to answer that question with Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha again. I'll tell you what it is when I get there. Hold on.
Like Israel it's mad, you know. I just feel, I always say this, a lot of Israelites were mediocre in the world, and they come into the truth where you have a chance to really shine and achieve greatness, and they just continue with that mediocre mindset. Like this thing is so powerful, and it's just amazing that literally the Most High, he will take you from the dunghill, from saying, to greatness. Like he would, like this. I love this. This is just too much. Too much.
Yeah, it's chapter 11. It's chapter 11, and it's just verse 20, chapter 20. 11 of Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, and verse 20.
Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 20. Be steadfast in thy covenant, and be confident therein, and wax old in thy work.
Exactly. Now, what is that saying? You gotta, all that's saying is you gotta eat, sleep, drink, and live your responsibility. This is what you was thinking. This is what you, listen, I'm gonna prove it. Be steadfast now. What is the covenant? You're gonna read the scripture about the covenant. We are the Most High's people. He done already let us know that he's gonna establish a new covenant with our what? With us. He says, not like the one that I made with your father, which covenant you break, even though I was a husband unto you. But this is the new covenant that I will make with the house of Israel and Judah. I will put my laws in their inward parts. But how do you get that? You have to come back to Christ. This is the covenant.
Yeah.
You have to be among those who are willing to come back to Christ. But now, so now that you got faith in Christ, How does the Most High quantify your faith? The scriptures say through works. You have to have something that you're responsible for in this. You can't just be getting the knowledge. That's why the scriptures say, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only.
Exactly.
You gotta come in. And so, listen, so that's your covenant. And be conversant therein. That means all you're supposed to be consumed with. Conversant means to talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all me and the word talk about when we get on the phone, and you and me, and is the word. There ain't nothing else to talk about. And then it says, listen,
right here.
And wax old in thy what?
Thy work.
In your faith?
In thy work.
In your attendance?
In thy work.
What's your work?
The things we do in sacrifice for the Most High every day.
The things that you perform, Mark, exactly.
Hold on. No. I'm gonna make it even easier to understand. I'm gonna make it easier to understand. When this is in thy work, we're talking about the moving company. That's thy work. We're talking about the malls. That's thy work. It's not deep. Do you know what I'm saying? Like your mind should be on that. That is the work that you're doing. And say, and this is why we was talking to a word earlier. It's like, at the end of the day, whatever, if you come into this and you see that, okay, cool, this is the business that we got. It's about, as the scriptures talk about, whatever you find yourself to do, you do with all thy might. You have to immerse yourself in this thing. Literally, I'm talking about everything you if you're doing a moving company.
Hold on, let me put it like this. Don't hold it. Let me just mean it. The reason he's saying a moving company is because that's what y'all got.
Exactly.
That's what's keeping the school open. That's whatever plans for building is taking place. That in conjunction with the malls, I don't know if y'all still do that. The point is, whatever avenue the Most High have provided for your body, your congregation,
exactly.
To where it does not have to, where the members don't have to go and work for Esau, that's what you're supposed to do. It's not, It's like, now continue on me, yes, it's not rocket science. In other words,
exactly.
He made it like that, so that's how, but what happens is then you got to be willing to live, because we know Esau paid more. But now that's the sacrifice. We know that you could go to other places and be qualified to get more and not have to make so many sacrifices. Then where is your service toward the nation in Christ? And so what happens is brothers will come in and be like, I don't know where I fit. Brother, we ain't got no drivers for the company. We got 20 trucks and we ain't got no drivers. You mean I don't know where you fit? But we got malls, brother. Well, let me say this out, because when I came in, we didn't have none of that. Brother, we all lived off, he says, we lived off of a bucket. I say a bucket, but those 5-gallon water dispensers that you put on top of the thing and then you draw the water, we lived off of whatever the Most High gave us from the street speaking, that it said donations, and we spoke from 12 in the afternoon to 10 at night. That's how, Thursday through Sunday, those were our speaking days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And whatever got made on those days, it got divvied up amongst the heads and then trickled down to us on the street, the foot soldiers. That's how it was. And I would be sitting up speaking, watching people come and dropping mad money in there while I was speaking. That wasn't trickling down to me. I grew up in the truth on cream of wheat and Little Debbie cakes and beans. We used to take the cream of wheat and mix it with the rice and the beans to give it volume. That's what I grew up on in the truth. And then Little Debbie cakes, them little bitty cakes that cost 25 cents up in the Bronx. An occasional slice of pizza. Brother came back, I'll be out there teaching for 4 or 5 hours straight. I'll come down, brother, be like, hey, listen, I brought you this slice, brother. You've been working. We want to catch an artist. That's how the Most High did it. That's what Christ meant when he said the laborer is worthy of his hire. If you're doing the work of the Most High, if you're making the sacrifices, if you're not complaining, because that's what murmuring is in the scriptures, the Most High gonna bless you and raise you up. But nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but there are a few that want to go through that.
Yep.
And that's why it comes back to say, whom will the Lord teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand the doctrine? And when you make it a point to bypass that process, you grow up deficient. You even did all the scriptures in the world, but then all the studying, and then somebody can come and just say this one thing, or you can see this one video and all of a sudden you're shaking. That's because you ain't got the spirit in you. You won't let it in because it only comes in one way, and that's giving yourself over to the Most High. That's it.
Yeah.
You become a complete tool for me. Then we wait till we get
Yeah.
fired. We wait till our women leave us. We wait till our parents kick us out the home. Now it's almost like it ain't worth nothing to the Most High because you waited till now you want it because it's convenient for you. Did your mama kick you out the house? Did your wife leave you? Did you get fired? You understand? Did you fall ill and all of a sudden you couldn't keep your upkeep up? Now you want to give yourself over? Do it. But remember how you came to the Most High. You came reluctantly and you came out of desperacy. You didn't come out of faith. That's what he's telling you. And so you end up spiritually deficient. Just like if you don't eat the right food and do the proper exercises as a young person, you grow up deficient. I don't know what's so hard about this. Go ahead, Amietis. I'm sorry.
Hey, Carl, you're dropping it. A few things there. I want to beg to differ with Israelites that think that Esau gives you more in the world. I totally disagree with that because yes, these brothers might think, oh, I'm earning whatever I'm earning in the camp dynamic, or I've got this lifestyle. But Esau's still giving you enough to let you just get by. He's giving you enough
to him and still need more. Exactly.
Now, if you're trying to get abundance in Esau's world, you have to make sacrifices. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to put the work in. Same thing, same way with the Most High. If you want to grow in the spirit, do you know what I'm saying, and having worked for you powerfully and having worked for you and bring abundance for you, you have to make sacrifices. You have to give yourself over. And this is what I was talking about when the brother mentioned when we broke down what it talks about when it's saying wax old in thy work. When I came into the truth, right, literally all we was doing, all I was thinking about was scriptures and the store. That's all I thought about 24/7. Scriptures and the store, hitting my toes. I didn't think about anything else. I didn't think about sports. I didn't think about nothing. Literally, my mind during the daytime was on hitting the toes. That's all I literally just meditate on that the whole day. And then afterwards, we had class, and then I thought about the scriptures. That's still my life today. And that's how your life should be. And you wax old in that, and that's how you get more of the spirit. Because really, in your position, that's all you can do. In your position, because, all right, Kawakab is the teacher, or was the teacher, right? So that means your role now, your part of the body, is to basically move the furniture, or whatever you guys do in the moving company, or to work the malls. So you need to give yourself over to that. You need to say, if you're moving
time, but like you said, and be studying.
Yeah, you got to do both. Yeah.
I mean, all I can and wait. Because and this certain be the part. Let me say, we got to continue to read down now. Read verse 20 and then read on down.
Okay, verse 20. Be steadfast in thy covenant, and be conversant therein, and wax old in thy work. Marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor.
Now, why does he say marvel not at sinners, but abide in thy labor, trust in the Lord? That's because you're going to see people in the world that quote. See, what happens is you be measuring success or happiness or whatever by what they have and what you don't.
Yes.
That's why he said, don't worry about them. Don't be envious of them. You trust the Lord and abide in your labor. Stick with your work. But see what happens? Many of us got this knowledge and we ain't came to the work yet. That's the truth. That's just, it is what it is, because I can't see myself out there selling oils. I ain't trying to be out here moving. How can you help? How can you help with the company? You don't got to do, I can't even do the stuff a young man used to could do back anymore. I ain't lying. So in other words, you have to, but you have to wax old in what it is you do. Now watch what's coming. Read it again. It's verse 21.
Marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich.
The time is going to come when that company's going to be booming. The brothers that will have sacrificed all, they're going to be getting paid. You're going to see, that's what the Lord said. It's going to be cold. Hold up. One more verse, go ahead.
Okay, verse 22.
Don't lose your thought.
Okay, verse 22. The blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, and suddenly he maketh his blessing to flourish.
When he says suddenly, brother, it comes like as if out of nowhere. And you're going to find out it's going to be more work than what you guys can handle. Some of y'all got skills that the company need and you won't work with the company. That's a shame, huh? But you want to think that you're doing the work. But we did whatever we was told.
Yeah.
But what are you talking about? I'm talking about, and like I said, we didn't have no business. So, in other words, this is, now listen, I want to tie it in. So from not going, why did we come here? Because we were trying to find out, how did that person have their senses exercised? So you go back to Hebrews chapter 5 and read verse 14 again.
Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 14.
Yeshaya. ¿Vos para que venir aquí o estás bañando ya? Ok, ¿me traes eso? ¿Lo llenas? Gracias. Okay, go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age.
So hold on. That's the age he's talking about. How long have you been under what? Have you assumed responsibility? The question is first, have you assumed responsibility for something that is needed by the congregation? And how long have you been in that position? And how have you performed that? The scriptures say, the diligent hand shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute. Hold on, let me get to that. So, in other words, how do you get it exercised? By you. What are you responsible for in the school? Huh? What does the congregation depend on you for? That's the question.
Yeah.
And if they don't depend on you for nothing, that's something to worry about. Not out of like being saved from a salvation point of view, but I'm talking about from what? From a spiritual endowment point of view.
Exactly.
Because the scriptures tell you that's the person who's made to understand the doctrine.
Yeah.
And so the time comes in from what? Remaining in your labor, under your responsibility, puts you in a circumstance where you're going to see things and experience things and be in all of these circumstances. Listen, I remember the day I met Award. He was 15 years old on Venice Beach when his father brought him and his brother Jerron and said, listen, man, all I knew is we was the Israelites, that we were the true Jews, but I couldn't teach them anything else. I was just using sports to teach them responsibility and make them help. And then he turned Jerron and Award over to us, man. That's why, and everything that was required that we needed a war for, he fulfilled it in all the places that the Most High ever had us build, even out here. Award put his time in out here. That's how we met Rashwan. Even out here. Hold up, I got to qualify him. He's in that position for a reason.
Exactly.
Brother was being groomed to play professional baseball. He was playing with President Bush's, they own the Texas Rangers. He was already going to go there and play professional ball. He got out of high school, St. Bernard's High School in California. Everybody that come out of St. Bernard's either go to football or baseball or basketball. That's a school that pump out athletes, just like my old high school, Narbonne. You're going to look up Narbonne right now and see all the cats in top tier universities and then made it to the pros. Since 1982. That's the kind of school he came out of. I came out the football program. He came out of his baseball program. Graduated and went right to Albuquerque, helped us build and rebuild there, got sent to Oklahoma, put in a whole bunch of months and years there, got sent to Miami, put in a whole bunch of time there. Then I brought him from Miami. The Spirit had me bring him from Miami to Texas and been there since the spring of 97. That's why he is where he is. He worked the malls. Everywhere he worked the malls. Everywhere where we had something that needed to be done, he did it. Raffle, everything. Selling clothes on the street, everything. And I did that too. That's why that's why the Most High giving that endowment. People don't understand. And I don't know where I fit. You fit in here. This is where you go. Are you doing anything that we're doing?
Yeah.
Are you helping us? Now, those that are not, I'm not dogging. I'm just saying, you want to know, I'm trying to show you. And so that's what the scriptures say. Because what keeps us from doing it? Because we look at the quality of life that we're not getting instead of focusing on the quality of life that we've been promised.
It's also our pride and our ego, Kawakab.
Yeah, man. Well, that's taken in the envy of the marvel not at the works of sinners. Why does it say marvel? Because we be impressed by what we see other people have. We be impressed at their car. We be impressed at their clothes. We be impressed at their $2 whore. We be impressed at all of the things. She had more people ride her ass than a Kentucky Derby horse. Talking about. So that's what we and so we want to have that. Or like you said, our pride hits us in a way where we're ashamed to be known as not necessarily to be with that group, but to be doing all of those menial chores, to be rejected at the malls, be running around doing beast of burden work.
Yeah.
But listen, all we got to do is, why are we doing it? This is how we serviced Christ. Anyway, read on Amayat, verse 21. Marvel not at the work of sinners.
Oh, verse 21.
Yeah, again.
So Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, verse 21. Marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich.
Go ahead.
Verse 22. The blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, and suddenly he maketh his blessing to flourish.
You're going to see it. You're going to see it. Go ahead. Last verse, verse 23.
Say not, what profit is there of my service? And what good things shall I have hereafter?
Yeah, in other words, because you don't have to show for what you want in your service. But for many of us in this circle and where we're from, have you even given yourself over to the service yet? That's the reality. And that's why Christ said, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. It's always a whole lot we're always behind, huh? But Israel don't want to come in. But when I was coming in, everybody did. We didn't have, even when I was there, every place where I ever been a steward at, we all did and let me say this, we all did what the school needed to be done, and what the school needed to be done was what was being done at the time. If it was a raffle, everybody participated in the raffle. When it blew up into the business, everybody participated in the business. And then I can say this with 100% of surety, the ones who didn't always deviated and were weeded out. Always. Not sometimes, not most of the time, always. Because they showed the Most High they weren't with what? They weren't with humbling themselves and carrying that cross. Yes, Amiyatazar.
Kawakab, I just want to drop a little secret on these people and I'm sure you in the war can attest to this as well. So obviously the ignorant person will come into the truth, or will look at brothers in the truth. And as you said, they will look at people in the world and think they've got more. And then they might look at the dynamic of the brothers and feel like, oh, the brothers have got less. But the thing is, if brothers do everything that we're reading about and do everything you've dropped today about submitting and giving themselves over to the Spirit of the Most High, and basically, and then please the Most High in that way, because like I said, this isn't rocket science. If all you got to do is basically move stuff, give yourself over to that. Learn the best way to do it. Immerse yourself in it. You will please the Most High by doing that. And you know what? The Most High will bless you. And it's like, don't worry about how the blessing comes. The blessing might not come from your wages in terms of how much you're getting paid. If the Most High is pleased with you, do you know what I'm saying? The Most High will send you someone, or send you a woman, send you whoever, do you know what I'm saying, who can basically elevate you in terms of, if you want a nice house, you might say to yourself, oh, based on the money that I'm earning, I will never be able to live in that type of house. But you know what? The Most High, he'll be so pleased with you. He'll give you what you need, some of what you want. He will send you somebody that can basically give you the opportunity to live in that type of home. Look at the land.
And then you'll find yourself never having time to be in it. It'll just be a comfortable place to shower, to eat, and to lay your head down when you got the time. That's how the Most High grow. Let me say this, Amiyatazar. Go ahead, I continue.
Like, for example, with our store, we had the business in Little Antigua, little store in Little Antigua, I'm saying, trying to make 3,000 quetzales a day. Never in my wildest dreams, right, did I think the Most High will bless us with 60 acres. How could you think you could afford to pay 60 acres? I'm saying, trying to do 3,000 quetzales a day. I'm saying, so you don't worry about how the blessing will come. This is where trust in the Most High comes in. The Most High will take care of you. This is what people don't see.
Hey,
People are
listen,
just look. Go ahead.
the fact that Israel doesn't give themselves 100% is why where we are. Like for me, this is a new experience. Hold up, always being in Nidok, this is a new experience. Once the Most High took Ariella and my work, and we crossed that threshold, our camps were never broke. The only camps that were, when I said, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, when we built Albuquerque, the Spirit of the Most High was with us, and we put time in, and we gave her all, and everybody that was in that school put in, all the men worked toward what the school had at the time. So that's where Eastern Oils was born, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The brothers came up to New York. We the ones that took them around for them to buy all the first oils and black soap and all the smaller things that they used to sell. And the Most High took that and made that business so lucrative that was the camp that would finance the other places. Went to California. Brother, the work grew so much in California, it got to the point where Mashaba, myself, Ariella, Zion, we all needed vehicles. We was riding around in this old Buick Skylark, little low-ride looking Buick. I got shot up at it one day out in this neighborhood trying to sell it so we could get some money. But out of nowhere, we asked the Most High, man, okay, now it's getting to the point where we can't get the work done. We had the street teach, we had the beach teaching on Sundays. We had the radio show on Wednesdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we had the cable shows. We had class every day. Sabbath, we got up in the morning, worked the men out for 3 to 4 hours. Then the rest of the day, they took a shower, went, and then we had the rest of the day was Sabbath class. This is before this was how it was. Then out of nowhere, these brothers popped up, brother, with 4 brand new vehicles off the showroom. I wasn't even ready for that. They brought a Grand Cherokee Laredo. They brought a Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. They brought a Jeep Cherokee, the box kind that looked like the box. They brought a Jeep Wrangler, and they brought a Chevy S10. Ariella got the Grand Laredo. I got the box Jeep. Zion got the Wrangler. And then Mashaba got the Chevy S10. Bang! The work escalated even more. California was making bank. Oklahoma had a palace of a school. But it was an era when whoever came into the school, the men, they took up the responsibility of whatever endeavor the school had. Nobody came and said, oh, this not. The ones that did weeded out themselves. The Most High wouldn't allow it. The ones in California that didn't get on board. They ended up becoming whoremongers, chasing women, getting sex favors by transvestites. It's all kind of wild stuff. Most High, because he's with this, and so if we're always behind the gun, it's because the brothers involved won't do what it takes to bring the blessing. That's why this one said, it said, wax old. Don't be envious of them. Don't marvel at them. Remain what? Trust the Lord and remain in thy labor. And we saw that. Oh, I mean, that's what happened out here.
Yeah.
You know that? We got focused, and that was it. We used to work till 1 in the morning. Then we had class from 1 to 4 in the morning. Then we get back up and be at the store again at 8 the following morning. And we worked for 7 days a week for 10 years. 7 days a week. The only thing we got was we got to go in a little later on Sundays and get off early. So that means Sundays we because of the place where we were at, we opened up at 12 and we closed at 6. Then it was back to Monday through Saturday. And then we would have people that we would teach. Class started at 4 o'clock. I mean, y'all be out there pulling in the money. I'd be in class teaching from 4. And then once he closed, all the other people would come in at 7. And we continued till midnight. This was when the Most High, the dynamic of the city took a turn and it slowed down. So we no longer had to work till midnight. And the more we taught, the more the Most High used to bring more money in during the day, to where we got to the point where we would open up the store and then start class in the morning. And then we would get interrupted after 4 or 5 hours of class. A client would come in, bang, and literally pay the money that would be above the quota that I should have had by that time. That's how the dynamic went. We see this thing over and over, but it was because all hands on deck and everybody was giving. It was like a Swiss watch. That's what that's why the scripture we be holding our own blessings back. Because everybody's picking and choosing. Everybody thinks instead of a smorgasbord, where you're supposed to be trying to get all that you can get. And I'm talking about the experience also, not just the information. We think that this is the damn salad bar buffet where you can pick and choose when you're supposed to be acting like it's a smorgasbord. Well, how much is all you can eat? Well, give it all to me. That's how you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Brothers be like, I'll have a little bit of that. No, I'll have a little bit of that.
Exactly.
That's how it is. Go ahead, I know you want to say something.
Oh yeah, I'm honestly, like I said, everything you're saying is just on point. You know, and just going back to a war before the class got here, I was letting a war know that when I came into the truth, that I used to hear these stories about a war and all the achievements that he did in the spirit. And it really just fired me up. It really inspired me, to want to give myself over, because I was like, I want those stories to be told of me. I was like, I want to be as good as a war, if not better. I want to apply myself like he did,
Do you know why Rashwan taught you like he did? Because when a war came down here, he met a war, and he saw that a war was like his age. He was like, or younger or something. And he was
slightly older, like 1 year older.
Yeah, he was 1 year old, and he was like, for real? He couldn't believe it. A war was so light years ahead for his age. I said, this brother been doing this since he was 15. Now, what are you talking about? And that's what made him want to come to Texas. So I sent him to Texas. I sent him to Texas for a year so that he could come back and have that vision for what we wanted to do down here. But when you got him, you saw he clearly didn't have it.
Yeah, but remember, even me, I wanted to go to Texas to meet these brothers. I've heard so much about these guys.
Why did I send Rashwan? And I told you didn't need it.
Because he needed the vision to see. He needed to see what they was doing and what they was achieved in Texas to fire him up, to get him inspired.
You had vision. I said no, and it was funny because I said no. Texas is going to corrupt you, not because Texas was a corrupter, but you did not need that. And to be sent out there, it was going to slow you down. You would come back here. One of the things that a war had to deal with, it took him like about a week to deal with it, was the pace. When a war first got here, he spent the first few days, brother, he had a spirit on him. It was dry, he was sleepy.
Yeah. That's how I was coming from London to Guatemala. The pace was so slow in Guatemala, you had to adapt.
You had to adapt. So I was saying, you came out here. But Rashwan, Texas was Texas was like the defibrillators. It was like the damn jumper cables. He was remember I should say he's the oldest young man I ever met.
Yeah.
Only thing he was lacking was the receding hairline. He's an old ass dude, But anyway, okay, because I want to go and get to Matthew. So why did we go through all of that? So that we could see, let's finish up one more time, verse 14 in Hebrews chapter 5. The reason why I'm going through that, I'm trying to show you, let me put it like this. All of that was offered up to help you understand how these different doctrines and perspectives and misunderstandings of the scriptures derive from. They derive from sources, men who have not been put through the process, so they be trying to teach and they don't have a grip on what the message is. They really don't. And so they're running around here teaching when they need to be taught. And then, so you read that verse again, go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 14. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
So you end up when you have a responsibility, this is what I certainly, listen, why do you think the Most High say in the book, that if a man, there's a scripture that tells you about if anybody desire the office of a bishop, he desired the good thing, right? And then he goes down the qualities or what qualities this man must possess. Then he goes on to say in about verse 5, it says, for if a man know not how to govern his own house, how shall he rule over the house of the Lord? Now that's important. Why? Because if you didn't came into this truth, there's levels of responsibility that prepare you for your household. Because most men that come into this truth be scared of women. And I don't mean scared of knocking the boots. I'm talking about scared of sin, scared of taking the steps to put her ass in order. Scared of dropping that. Listen, I don't give a shit where we are. Babylon or nowhere. The man can have more than one woman. I don't have one woman only because that's what they need to tell me, because I'm afraid of you or because it ain't wise. All these little punk ass reasons that men be trying to come up with why a man not supposed to have more. Now's not the time, nigga. Where does it say that at? You ain't got. How do you know that's how the Most High is gonna make you into a man? Responsibility. So cats that don't come in and assume responsibilities among the body, they want to just pass knowledge around. They want to sit back on the podium and pontificate only. Why do you think a war is out there busting his hump with the moving company till his back went out for who knows how long? Because the people that don't do that, the Most High don't endow them. So they'll be sitting back, and it gets to the point where this is how I get taught how to be a man. This setting here prepares me to run a household. So if I ain't did this, you can go back and go to all these cats. You know them, I don't. But I bear guarantee that their houses are in shambles, their children are unruly. The man won't take no responsibility in the household. The household could be sinking economically. He ain't got no wisdom to get him above water anymore. Because these men that evade responsibility in the work that is designed to make men out of them, they go into other areas and they no longer possess men-like qualities. That's why they can't make no damn decisions. That's why they stay behind the scenes sowing dissension and causing chaos with these different doctrines. That's what I know where it's coming from, because I've been doing this since 1988. It always comes from them. It always comes from those that didn't put their hands to the plow. Always, not sometimes, always. So the Lord said they haven't had their senses exercised to be able to discern good from evil, because this is how you get it. It starts off in the school, it moves on into your household, and then before you know it, you understand it. You understand. The school teaches you responsibility. In the school teaches this is where we're being made. The world didn't make a man out of me. The world made a monster out of me.
Yeah.
The world made a villain out of me. Literally, I'm not speaking figuratively, I'm speaking literally. A damn villain, a vile bastard. So I came to the school and said, okay, where do you need me at? And I did it, everything and all things. And all of a sudden, literally, studying, the Most High just began to give me understanding. And that's how it happens. And it happened serving my teacher. And he said, man, this is where you belong. I'll never forget, after so many times on the road, we got back to New York, and Lahab was like, we want to put him out there. We want to put him on the table out there on the street. And Ariella said, no, man. He said, this dude is a teacher. Just like that, because I did too much stuff because being put on the street, they weren't going to have no teaching going on. So here's the deal. The people, the men that have to be taught again, it's not just saying they have to be taught so that they can be able to learn to discern good from evil. They have to serve. That's why we get the verses that talk about abiding in your labor. What service do you offer to the body that the body depends on? Mm. That's the point. I mean, y'all just are dependent on me. I depended on him. Yeah. Literally big time.
Yeah.
So that is what gets us to having to break down shit like Manzers and of the various issues that we got to deal with. So now let's go into the final phase of the Manzer. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13, and you're gonna start off. What verse did I say, Amayetazah?
You didn't say a verse.
Okay, I think I said 24. Let's see let me get there.
Actually, I did think you said 23. I would
I do recall that, huh? Yeah, it is. It's verse 24. Go ahead.
Okay. Matthew 13 and verse 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then have it tares?
Now stop. Let's break this down up into this point. Although later on in this chapter it breaks it down, I was just going to give us a precursor. So It's going to tell you the good seed in the field is Israel having been scattered all over the world. When it says, but then while men slept, his enemy came. The sleeping process is the time that the Most High what? Put us to sleep to punish us. And that's in Isaiah 20. Let's prove that. This is the time when we didn't know the Bible because of the process of slavery everywhere. Go to Isaiah 29 and read and start off at verse 9 and read verse 9 and 10.
Isaiah 29 and verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
This is the Lord telling Isaiah about us. You got to stay, man. You got to cry out. You got to keep on teaching. Yeah, you can wonder, meaning what? People are marveling at us. Wonder, cry ye aloud and cry. He says they stagger, but what?
They stagger, but not with strong drink.
Now stop. What is it when a man is staggering? That means he's walking, he's trying to get someplace, but because of the state that he's in, because of his altered state, he's actually got a bunch of missteps. It's the reason for which when the cops see you swerving, they pull you over and then they make you walk on that line and you stagger. But he says they stagger, meaning they constantly misstep. They're not in their right mind. Their mind is altered, but not because of wine. Go ahead.
Verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out.
You didn't finish. You didn't finish.
I did. Verse 9 again. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink.
Right, they stagger, but not with strong drink. In other words, the state of mind that we're in is as though we were drunk, but we're not drunk. It's not due to wine. It's not due to strong drink. Go ahead.
Verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
So this is why we couldn't see the scriptures. The Lord poured out upon us the spirit of deep sleep. That's why we've been thinking we're Mexicans and Afro-Americans and Indians and Puerto Ricans and all these colonial names that we've been given. You understand? The Lord poured out upon us the spirit of deep sleep. Continue on me, Yetazah.
Verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes.
So listen, but while men slept, so when were our eyes closed? During the time of slavery, all the way up until now. And now he's opening our eyes. So what was taking place while we was asleep? Well, first we were being raped, but now a little later on in this, now we're getting close to, we can put it like this, while we were sleeping, the REM sleep, the part where you're in the deepest sleep dreaming, this is Israel being raped and being Esau planting seed among us. But then the closer you come to what? To waking up, the less of a deep sleep that you're in. And so now the Most High, we're starting to see these things. So he said, the Lord poured out upon us the spirit of deep sleep. Continue on me, Yetazah.
The prophets and your rulers, the seers have he covered.
So not just the body of people, but everybody responsible for teaching us the Bible. Your prophets, your rulers, and the seers, their eyes have he closed. That's why they was teaching us lies. Because they didn't know. Remember, the Heavenly Father shut the eyes of the entire nation. That's why you got these stupid ass Negro pastors up in politics. And what captivity did our people ever get up in and get into our enemy's political system, if not the traitors? It was always the traitors that was working hand in hand with the Romans, working hand in hand with the Greeks, working hand in hand with the Persians. It was them. It wasn't the people that was waiting on the Lord. The Lord never raised up a deliverer from the state that oppressed us. Niggas out here voting. I see all these damn memes and whatever posts, trashing Trump. What nigga you going for this damn walking dead man Biden? It's like they done pulled Israelites into this, literally, they done pulled Israelites that are supposedly awake into this whole anti-Trump thing, which suggests that Biden is the one, or this anti-Republican thing, which suggests that the hope really lies with the Democrats, when the whole system is putrid. The whole system is evil. And that's why the Most High is going to destroy it all, not just the Republicans, not just the Democrats. Read on down, Amayatazar.
Okay. The whole system is evil. Verse 10 of Isaiah 29. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers, have he covered.
Now that's good enough, because it goes into the dynamic of the educated and the uneducated pastors. But I just wanted to show you what sleep was. So when you go back to Matthew chapter 13 and verse 25 says, but while men slept, this is what he's talking about. The enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. And so this is why you get people like Frederick Douglass. People over in Baltimore, in Virginia, they love the hell out of the proud line of Baltimore, but he's a damn white man. He's an Edomite. His mother was a slave, and his father raped him, and he escaped. He beat his father's ass and escaped and became an abolitionist. But he's an Edomite. Bob Marley, you understand? Edomite. Kamala Harris, Edomite. Her mama's Hindu, but her father comes from the long line of what? Plantation owners, where the Edomite men were always sleeping with the black Jamaican women. So these are not Manzers, these are tares. They're not even Israelites. There's no such thing as Manzer in the scripture. Either you're an Israelite, and no matter that your mother was of a different nation, the scriptures tell you, we'll get there. Go ahead, Amayatazah. So we're back in chapter 13, and it says in verse 26, but when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So that just means in the process of time, what? Tares begin to pop up among us, people that are not Israelites. But the apostles or the servants of this person think that they recognize the tares. Lord, didn't you plant good seed? Well, then how can we see tares? Do you want us to go and pull up the tares? And the Lord said, what? No, lest pulling up the tares, you gather some of the children also, which shows us that what? If we go by how people look, just like Bob Marley, Frederick Douglass, but then you got Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz, his mom is that one from the Jeffersons. The neighbor that was married to the white man that was all nerdy, well, she really went out and got with a white man and bore a child and named him Lenny Kravitz. And so Zoe Kravitz, all these Lisa Bonet looking ass daughters of his, those are all Edomite children. But now then you got other people who look just like Esau, and they are Israelites. So he said, no, you can't go and eliminate them. He says, because in doing so, you will pull up some of the children. Read on down, Amayatazah. So now here we are in verse 28, I'm sorry.
He said unto them, an enemy have done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together unto the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn.
So now, let me say this. This is focusing on the dynamic that took place between Israel and Esau. But everywhere that we are in the world, the same thing happened with other nations. Women got raped by Hamite men in the continent of Africa. Israelite men married Hamite women in the continent of Africa, Indonesia, Asia, all these places. This one is just talking about the dynamic of Esau. Now he's going to show you. That's why he said in verse 25, but while men slept, his enemy. It's talking about a specific enemy, his enemy. Now let's jump down to where the scripture breaks it down. So jump down to verse 36, Amayatazah.
Verse 36. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field.
Yeah, they were like, break that down, man, because Christ was taking this parable to everybody. The multitudes. He sent them on home, and the apostles was like, man, you got dropped. What does that mean? Go ahead.
Verse 37. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man.
So he's saying, he's referring to himself. I'm responsible. The Lord used me to scatter you guys all throughout the world. Go ahead.
Verse 38. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one.
Listen to that. Listen. The wicked one. The wicked one. That's talking about Esau. Now, I'm going to keep on saying this. The same thing happened all over the world, everywhere we were scattered. It wasn't only Esau doing this, but what? But Esau is the enemy that the Most High have determined will have no mercy. The other nations are going to have mercy. Go ahead.
Verse 39. The enemy that sold them is the devil.
Now that's a specific enemy. The enemy, the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sold them is the devil, and we all know the devil is what? Is a parable name for the Edomite civilization. Simple and plain. And we'll get to that because after I finish these topics, this so far is the last question. Starting next Friday, we're gonna go down into our apocalypse. We're gonna enter into a phase apocalyptic blitz where we're gonna be breaking down all the books, the chapters, in other words, related to the prophecies of the end times. Daniel chapter 2, Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 8, Daniel chapter 11, Daniel chapter 12, Daniel chapter 10, Revelations, all of that. Second Ezra. That's what we're going to be focusing on. So you guys can have all of that and see, because those books literally describe what's unfolding right now. So that's what we're going to start next Friday. That's why we're making it a point to knock out everybody's question, because once we go into that, unless it's something that a war can't handle, which I can't see, you guys are going to have to refer all your questions to him, because I want to stay on this trajectory once we start. All right. So the devil, that's talking about what the Edomite civilization did, spreading their seed among us all over the world. Go ahead.
Verse 39. The enemy that sold them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world.
Continue.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity.
Now stop right there. This is the chapter this is the verse that shows you that Israelites are not the only ones that's going to be taken up in the chariots. Huh? That's why I always tell people this, and we're going to prove these in this apocalyptic blitz series. There are three, for the most part, groups of angels coming with Christ. There are three tasks, three responsibilities that they are designated to perform. You have one group that's going to accompany Christ and Michael, and their responsibility is going to be to take down the armies of the world. That's Revelations chapter 19, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, Isaiah chapter 34, Isaiah chapter 63. That's what Christ is going to do. Then he have other angels who are designated to go and extract Israel out from all the countries, those that are meant to be extracted and delivered, from all the countries where we've been scattered, and take us to a non-disclosed place that the Bible just refers to as the wilderness. That's group number 2. Group number 3, we're reading about them right now. The Most High is going to have angels gather out of all of his kingdom, and his kingdom means the world. How do we know that? Because when you read Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15, at the time that Christ appears, it is declared, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of our God and his Lamb and his Christ. So this thing is going to be, it's going to be on. Right? Esau going to be thinking he's being saved. And his ass is getting, he's going to be going, read it again. I'm going to show you, because it's saying, it's a cold deal, Ivan. It's a cold deal, brother. Niggas going to be rising up and be like, yeah, I made it. I made it in the rapture. His ass is going to get dropped in the place that's burning. Let's read it. Go ahead, Amiyetazar. Read verse 40 again. No, I'm sorry. Start off at verse 40 again.
As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity.
Now, so this is showing you what? This is describing angels performing an extraction process on evil people, those that do offend and commit iniquity. And then what does it say is going to happen to them in verse 41 or verse 42?
And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
So the first thing we're going to do is define his kingdom. Like I said, let's go to Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15. This is going to show. Why do I say that? Because the scriptures here say he shall gather all those that do iniquity and that do offend out of his kingdom. So we're going to define what the kingdom is. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15.
It's going to tell you about the seventh seal, the seventh trumpet or something. Go ahead.
And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord.
Hold on. The kingdoms, meaning all of the countries of this world, at this moment are become the kingdoms of our what?
Our Lord.
Go ahead.
And of his Christ.
And of his Christ. The Most High is commandeering them. So this is where he's going to be pulling everybody out. This is mine now. Everything that offends is going to get extracted and taken to a place where it's fire, and it says they're going to be cast there. Now, to show you the other gathering process real quick, go to Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. I think it's verse 29. It might be 30 and 31. It's going to say immediately after the tribulation. So it might be verse to 29 or 30.
Yes, 24 and 29.
Go ahead.
Matthew 24 and verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
So
and
when
the
it
stars
says after the tribulation, that leaves people under the impression that there's a process that has to go under, and then that has to stop. No, when it says after the days of the tribulation, it's talking about in the height of it, where the Most High finally sends Christ. The tribulation is now. Like, oh, no. You have religious people in the 7-year tribulation. Nigga, Iraq has been on fire since 1991. Libya and Syria in shambles since 2011. Afghanistan since 2001. People and now it has come to America. The lockdown. Well, if anybody ever worked in a prison like I did, you know a lockdown is what you do when prisoners act up.
Yeah.
So they're already conditioning you to accept that you're prisoners. All of us, me too. We on a lockdown still. So in the height of this tribulation, of these turbulent times, what's going to happen? Read it again, verse 29.
29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven.
The stars falling from heaven are talking about the nuclear warheads designated for all of their places. They ain't talking about the heavenly stars. The Lord tells you in the book that they were not removed from their courses. And that's another lesson. We'll prove that. This verse is in conjunction with 2 Ezra chapter 15. And it tells you that the stars are nuclear warheads that's going to be poured out over every high and eminent city. Talking about all the capital cities of the world. Go ahead, Amiyatazar. So at the time that the nations would have fired on one another, this is when Christ is going to pop up. Go ahead.
And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Talking about all the kingdoms of the realms of men are going to be shaken. Continue.
Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
So at that time, when all the bombs are being fired and dropping, when Christ is going to pop up. Continue.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Continue.
Verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet.
So this is another group. He going to send his angels with what, Abiyatazar?
With a great sound of a trumpet.
Just like it says in Thessalonians. Go ahead.
And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Continue reading again.
From one end of heaven to the other.
So there you got a gathering process of the elect.
That's one, yeah.
From one head to the other. That's a distinct group of angels designated to the deliverance or the salvation of Israel. But then there's also another group that we read in chapter 13, whose responsibility is to gather all of those that offend and do iniquity out. Ain't that called deal on the other?
For real. Wow.
They gonna see niggas going up and they gonna see them going to but okay, well, we must be in a good position there.
Yeah, them
and
Christian.
No, they're gonna get dropped to another place. So go back to chapter,
With them Christian Edomites.
Yeah, be talking about the rapture.
Yeah.
So go back to chapter 13.
Yeah.
And the last thing is you're gonna read once again verse 41 and 42.
Matthew chapter 13 and verse 41. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity.
So now from what we just read, we know that at that point when Christ pops up with the angels, all the kingdom, his kingdom represents what? All the kingdoms of the world. That at that moment, his appearance, they will be converted to the Most High's kingdom and of Christ. So the angels now are going to do what? Clean up their kingdom. They're going to take out of all the kingdoms in the world, there's a place designated where they're going to get cast. Now, personally, I believe that's America because that's the only place that the Bible says where it's going to burn continually. It tells you that the smoke is going to rise continually of Babylon in chapter 18, but then when you read chapter 19, it also tells you those people that what? That get cast into the furnace, that the smoke of their torment is going to rise. It's only the Most High about to have the place littered with a bunch of places that's burning eternally. It's going to be one place, and that's where they're going to get dropped at. Okay, was that verse 42? Was that it?
No, it was 41.
Go ahead.
And verse 42. And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Now, so we find out that with respect to this, there are no mansers. This is talking about tares. Now, what of those Israelites who are Israelites whose parents are non-Israelites, Moabites, Edomites, and all that? Brother, the Most High tell you, listen, I'm going to show you something. First, the Most High knew that was going to happen. I'm going to prove it. Go to Isaiah chapter 47.
Ooh.
He's the one that made it happen as a part of punishment. Isaiah chapter 47, and you're going to start off. Go ahead and start off at verse 1.
Isaiah 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Now, when it says virgin daughter of Babylon, just so that we know this is talking about Esau, you can read that in what? In Psalms, what is it? Psalms 135 and verse 7 through 9, where it says, remember, go there real quick. Because like I said, I don't want to this is being recorded, so I want to just throw some stuff out there and people not be able to know that that's what it's saying. I'm not saying it because I got this thing about Esau. When it says, "O virgin daughter of Babylon," there's one nation that is referred to as the virgin daughter of Babylon, and that's in Psalms 130. Is it 137? Right? Psalms 137 verses 9 through 7 through 9. Get that real quick.
Psalms 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day
wait
of...
a minute. The children, meaning the descendants of Edom. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof.
Now, this is referring to when the Babylonians came and took down Jerusalem in 586, that the Edomites were helping them out. Though it tells you the details in Obadiah. Those that were escaping, they was killing us and bringing us back also to the Babylonians to be slain or to be taken into captivity. They were cutting us off in the highways, not allowing us to escape. This is what it says in Obadiah. So David, this didn't even happen in his time. He's prophesying about it, saying, Lord, remember the children of Edom. That said in the day of Jerusalem, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Go ahead.
Verse 8. O daughter of Babylon.
Oh, wait a minute, what?
O daughter of Babylon.
The Edomites, the descendants, the children of the Edom are the daughter of Babylon. Go ahead.
Who ought to be destroyed.
They are destined for destruction. Who ought to be destroyed. Go ahead.
Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
Now that's some harsh stuff right there, because that's what they did. David said, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. That means, what did they do? David went on and get into detail. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, because that's what they were doing with our little ones. Taking them by the ankles and dashing them against the stone. So when we go back to Isaiah chapter 47, old virgin daughter of Babylon is talking about the Edomite civilization. Okay? Go ahead, Amiyatazar. We almost done. Amiyatazar back there. We got a marathon tomorrow. I know I'm getting us out of here on time, brother.
Thank you.
We do 7 hours on every Saturday, y'all. So I know Amiyatazar, he like, shit, Kawakab. Come on, brother.
Because I don't get no sleep. Like my day has started now until like tomorrow morning.
I know.
Isaiah 37, what verse?
47, and start off at verse 1 again.
Okay, Isaiah 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground.
So now what is he saying? Come down, O Edomite civilization, and the specific America, because that's Babylon the Great. But the children of Edom are scattered all over the world. They have what? Taken over the world. Go ahead.
There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Okay,
listen, that was just so that what? That you know who's being addressed, right? The daughter of Babylon, which is Edom. Now jump down to verse 6.
Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 6. I was rough with my people.
The Lord said, I was angry with my people. Watch. Now this goes with Deuteronomy. Go ahead.
I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand.
So now what does that mean? The Lord is telling us he polluted us. He knows that Israelite men got with Edomite women and had children. He knows that Israelite women got with Edomite men and had demons that can't be recognized as such. He understands that our minds have been polluted. He understands that our spirit have been. That's why when you go and you read the scriptures, the Lord said, I will pour water on you and clean you from your. Getting all too much into it. I can catch myself.
Break it down.
So we're gonna hold on now, brother. Read the verse out, and I'm gonna show that, okay? I'm gonna show, because of the pollution, what the Most High said he's going to do with us. And that's going to be in Ezekiel chapter 36. I had to stop myself because the Spirit was giving me, just show him where it is, brother. Calm down. You got tomorrow, brother. Go ahead, No,
okay,
you're going to finish verse 6. Finish verse 6.
Yeah, Isaiah 47 and verse 6. I was rough with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
So this is crystal clear. The Most High knows we're polluted. He knows we've mixed. The tares are going to be gathered out from among us. But them Israelites who are the sons and daughters of Israelite men that got with other women, if they come back to the Most High, they're going to be saved. That's in Romans chapter 9. And so, Romans chapter 11. And so all the children, all the seed, it says, of Israel, of Jacob shall be saved. We're going to read that after Ezekiel. So when it says, I have polluted my inheritance, let's go and see what the Most High promised because of that pollution that we've been taken through. Because it's not just talking about psychological, it's not talking about intellectual pollution, it's not talking about moral only, it's talking about our seed has been mixed. So let's go to Ezekiel. I'll tell you the verse when I get there, but it's chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36. Hold up, y'all. Y'all know I got this magnifying glass. Got my Mr. Magoo eye. Hold up. The eye of Sauron. Okay, listen, it's Ezekiel chapter 36, and I'm gonna start off. I want you to start off at verse 24. This is cold.
Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 24.
And you're going to read all the way down to verse 29. Continue.
For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land.
Continue.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you.
Because that's how we've been polluted. He said, I'm going to clean you up, man. Go ahead.
Verse 26. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh.
Go ahead.
And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them.
This is the same thing that it says in Jeremiah 31 and 31 when he says what? He's going to put his laws in our inner part, and no man will have need to teach every man his brother, saying, know ye the Lord. It says, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest. Go ahead.
Verse 28. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your power.
Go ahead.
I will also save you from all your uncleanness.
I will save you from all of your pollution. I will save you from all of your cleanliness. I will save you, what it says in verse 25, from all your filthiness. That's what salvation is about. Go ahead, Amiyatazar.
Verse 29. I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn and will increase it and lay no famine upon you.
Now, who is subject to this? Clearly, all the ones that will have come back to the Most High through Christ. But let's go and get what he says. Go to Romans, I say chapter 9, but I'll verify when I get there. But for now, let's start off Romans chapter 9. I'll find the verse. It might be verse 26. Let me see. Chapter 11, 12, going backward. This is that's chapter 9. Hold on. No, it's not that. Hold up. Okay, that's chapter 10. Let me try chapter 11. Yes, it's chapter 11 and verse 26.
Okay. Romans chapter 11 and verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
So it says, and so all Israel. Now, is it talking about the wicked ones? No. But when it says all, it's talking about all of those that will have come back to the Most High. These brothers coming up with these doctrines about mansers. This guy don't even read the Bible. He reading a bunch of dictionaries, and the scriptures tell you that. The scriptures tell you that what? And those of us among our circles that fall in this, it tells you that's because we have itching ears. We be wanting to hear some new shit. That's what it tells you. Let me find that. Find the term itching ears. It's in Timothy somewhere. Let me check. It might be 2 Timothy. I'll get it. But the point is, listen, before we go there. So we just read how the Most High know that he polluted us. The question is, how were we polluted? We were punished for our idolatries, and then the Most High put us under the authority and cruelty of the lowest specimen of life on earth called Edom. So much so that the Lord said that there are no people. I'm not just saying that to say that. The Most High don't even consider them people. He said, I will make you jealous with a foolish nation, and I will provoke you to anger with a no people, because you provoked me to anger with that which is not God. So what happens now? When you read 1 Corinthians chapter 15, it describes that this was the experience that the Most High wanted us to go through. It says, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in honor, dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in strength. So like I said, man, listen, Dawiya, the lesson could go on and on forever. It's just they don't know I can continue. I just got to get up in the morning. I got to have a voice.
Gotcha.
But the point is, you can move forward because the Most High to let us know. Their problem is they haven't come in. They've been taught the knowledge, but they haven't been made to understand the doctrine. And that's because they haven't served their body. They haven't served their people. They're just they're serving themselves, even if it's just about being known as a teacher, just a reputation. So, what's up?
Sorry, this is my nephew. Come here.
Okay.
Oh, no, yeah.
They just now getting in? We've been up that late?
No, I woke him up. You okay?
Oh, okay.
I'll go and sleep.
Yeah, we're done now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right on the dot. It's 11:01. So listen, y'all, I was moving fast. If we had more time, I'd lay it out even more. The cleansing process, it was designed for us. Why do you think, never mind. If you don't understand, the Most High, he chose this dishonorable, corrupted experience for us to go through so that we could, like Christ, be raised up into that glorious image of Christ. People act like Christ came in the form of a prince in a hand. The scriptures tell you he was disfigured. And his genealogy, brother. Let me put like, who do you think Solomon's mama was? Solomon's mama was the one that Solomon did adultery with.
Yeah.
They don't even know that. But that David had promised her, that was probably the contract that made. It was told David one of his sons was out there putting on riding around in the royal chariot, declaring himself king. David was about ready to die. Bathsheba came and said, you promised me my son would be on the throne. But she was the adulteress. She was the one that don't sound like shed a tear about Uriah, her husband, being put to death. All of us have that shit in our family line and in our history. That's what the scriptures refer to as being sown in dishonor. Real quick, I'm sorry. Last scripture, and it's not going to be like just 1 Corinthians chapter 15, just so that you can see the whole process of Israel having gone through a process where we've been mingled and the seed and all that stuff what people be talking about. Okay, chapter 15. Hold on. And verse, we're going to just read verse 42 and 43, and that's it, all right?
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 42. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption.
This is showing the nature of what we've gone through. The people talking about Israelites that are not pure blood, mamas is a different nation. This is exactly what this is talking about, being sown in corruption, having our seed corrupted, having our minds corrupted. He said that's the reason for which what? That's the nature of needing to be resurrected from the dead. You're in a dead state now. You were sown in what? It says in corruption, Yatazar?
Yeah, it is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption.
Go ahead.
It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power.
And so that's the experience that the Most High was taking us through. Right? There's all these cats. I wish they would just read the Bible, ask questions, and shut the hell up and learn. They're like trying to make it seem like Israel's supposed to be this perfect specimen that Christ is coming back for. Christ is coming back for a monster. That he just, those of us that have come back to him, we realize that we're monsters and we're working on our what? On our monstrosities using the medicine. This is the pill that turns Mr. Hyde back into Dr. Jekyll. Y'all remember that dude? He had a potion. He's like, he's a monster. Well, this is the one that takes us monsters and brings us back to that Jacob state. So y'all do your thing, man. I love y'all. Next Friday, we're gonna start our Apocalyptic Blitz series. We're gonna go in deep, y'all. So we're gonna chip away at it 3 hours at a time every Friday. All right. All right. Shalom, brother. Yatazar, I'll see you in a couple hours, brother.
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple hours.
All right. Shalom.
All right, shalom.